Wait, are people watching already? I'm so confused. Oh, hello everybody. I'm live. I had no clue. How are you guys doing? Let me know if you can hear everything. Um, I am officially streaming in 10 minutes, but we woke up at 5. It is morning for me. Yeah, I live in I'm in Macau right now with my parents. So awesome. Please let me know if everything's looking good, if it's sounding good. You can see this. This is the stream plan. But I want to start with some hi Zach, hi Abigail, hi Riyadh, hi Zach, hi Shawnee, hi Major Brawl, hi Alex. Wow, it's so good. Thank you everybody for joining. I will let you know that this is probably going to cut out a couple times. I don't know why. But the VOD will be uploaded after, so no worries if you can't stick it through the whole thing. We're going to learn a lot today. I'm really excited. And yeah, but while I have the time, I'm going to... What's up, Jay? Hey, Evan. Glad you could make it, man. Thanks for the support. I'm going to start with some warm-up and just do some really basic, and feel free to leave questions. I'll bring this up again at about 7 o'clock. Gotta post on Instagram. Gotta let the people know, that we're online. Let's do... What are we doing? I'm going to say hi, chat. Can you all spam hi in the chat so I can use you for content? In the meantime, we're gonna just start with some... I haven't drawn this morning yet, so... What are we gonna do? Awesome, Evan. Okay, we'll just do some mannequins. Heck yeah. Peter Hunt, the goat, for sure. There we go. Here we go. Amazing. Thank you, guys. Okay, stream starting. Starting in 10. Be there. Or be square. Yes, you guys aren't square. Okay. Alright, awesome. Alright, let's get to it. Let's get to it. I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb here. Okay, we're just going to get started. I'm a little nervous because I haven't warmed up, so we're going to do that now. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Do you guys hear that humming in the background? It's a humidifier. I can turn that off. Before I dip to go to the gym. Hey, Viggy, what's up, man? Everyone revere this man. He will transform your skill. That is, he's flattering me, but I'm glad you can make it, Viggy. Enjoy the gym sesh, man. Viggy has a YouTube channel where he's been drawing for like, I don't know how many days in a row, but he's doing fundamental exercises from ArtWad and from my channel to draw from imagination, and the progress he made, I was like, I was so shocked. The progress he made in two years looks crazy. He has a really good understanding of form, so it goes to show that if you practice the right stuff, it'll happen pretty quickly. So I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to do some basic shapes, basic forms. Oh, hold on a second here. Let me take us to... This is what we're going to be studying today. I got a bunch of poses, and in the description, should be the description of the chat. Let me know if you guys... Can I confirm some stuff with you? Is this Pinterest link in the description? And does the description say, like, is there a description for this video with Drawing Club and with a little description of what we're doing today? I thought that was a wonky box, lol. So we're gonna do some of this. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go and run and get... Hey, Cade. I'm gonna go get some coffee. You can probably still hear me, though. But I don't know if you can anymore. Okay, hopefully it didn't cut out. Got to sleep, but keep going, bro. Hey, Sky, what's up? Have a good night, J-Con. Can you guys hear me still? Hope that's good. Yeah, it looks like you can hear me. Got the coffee running. I woke up at 5 a.m. to do this because we have to adjust for North American time zones, so that's what we're doing. But yeah, I'm just gonna work to get my hand loose, do a bunch of these exercises that I always talk about, so that hopefully we build that visualization before we get into the stream. Now you might very well find that today, guys, bro can't draw, so wish me luck. It's gonna be fun though. I just came in a week ago. Awesome, you guys got the dynamic Bible. Yeah, it's kind of goated. It's pretty great. Hi, Gabriel. So the reason I'm doing this stream, by the way, is to share the new class that I'm doing. Or if you guys see in the comments, in the description, a new class on the animation tutor is happening. I mentor there, and it's most of the classes there are for getting into college, but this one's going to be a more general program for anybody who's looking for a weekly, not super serious class that they want to get their fundamentals of drawing figured out and work on the basics. Then for the cheapest price you'll find for a live class online, then that's what we're doing. So, and there's a huge discount for the first 15 people who sign up. So I'm doing this live stream as a way to show you guys sort of what it's going to be like. The actual classes are going to be more structured. You're going to get homework and feedback every week, so it's pretty loaded, honestly. And it's like the price of I guess it's like the price of Chipotle or something, but yeah. We can still hear you. Awesome. Okay. What time is it? Okay, 3 more minutes and then we're gonna get, well, we're probably gonna wait a little bit just to get people in the chat. But I wish I could know. I have no idea how to use OBS, or it took me like an hour to set up this stream, so I'm kind of operating in the dark here. I wonder if I can see how many people are in the stream. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. I think if I find out, I'll get nervous, so maybe I shouldn't find out. Okay, so we're talking about mannequinization today. Let's do some not basic stuff. Let's do some form drawing, some anatomy. Oh, while we're here, maybe I'll show you guys what I've been drawing recently, so we can chill out and just enjoy the time we have together here before we get to the lesson. Let's give him a box head. By the way, I want to put you guys on an unbelievable artist. They're always from Korea. Go to Instagram and search up Uinag, I don't know, but that artist is cracked. They're really, really good. So if you guys do follow them already, you know they're insane. Can I become an artist without going to college? I'm gonna bet yes, because I'm no longer in college, so I hope to God that yes. Hi, Fatima. I really hope the answer is yes. I believe it is. A lot of people have. Modern day James has. I don't think Cynic's design went to school. Okay, I'm gonna go get my coffee. I'll be back, and I'm gonna get some drawings. I'll show you guys some drawings that I've been working on. All right, we're back. I'm gonna run one last time. Sorry if you can hear my apple crunching. No, it's not Goozy Nag. I think it's literally just this. I'll share it on my Instagram after. Did you drop out? I'm taking a gap semester, but if it goes well, I think I will drop out. Not because school's not worth it, but because for what I want to do, it's sort of, I don't know, I think I have a good shot of learning on my own. I think I enjoy that, and I go to school for animation, but I enjoy drawing more than animating, so the skills go hand in hand, but right now, that's the move I'm making. You're no longer in Sheridan? Yeah. So for right now, I'm in Macau for the time being, for the next few months, and then I'm going to move to Montreal. This stream is going to stay on YouTube, but it's going to be edited and then uploaded only for the parts that are about mannequinization. Bro is munching. Sorry, I didn't know. Well, I didn't know you could hear the apple. I didn't. I was hungry. Okay, well, let's take a look at the art, some of the drawings I've been doing recently, just to show you guys, I don't know. And then, yeah, we'll get into mannequinization. So, hold on, I really want to check how many people are in the chat. Love to animate from imagination. You definitely will be able to animate from imagination one day. Let me just see. Let's see how many people we got in the chat. Wow, this is confusing. Manage. Live now. 73, I think. That's the last number I got. Okay, well, anyway. I did this last night. It's it's a bunch of animals in a I wanted to do like a military cargo van, but it didn't really work. But 73 watching. Thanks, Evan. How would you use a dynamic Bible? First pass, copy, then try and apply again. Yeah, with all these textbooks, you really just wanna copy what they're drawing and understand the philosophy of how they're doing it. Because drawing is basically thinking, right? It's just a way of thinking about the world and the shapes. So with any of the textbooks you get, you just wanna, by drawing them, you sort of download that information in your brain, but you really want to just understand what they're saying and how they think when they draw. This one I was pretty proud of because my sense of spatial awareness is getting a little bit stronger on the floor. The perspective grid's easier to imagine a little bit. This one, we got a roided out chicken. And some extra just stuff I was doing at night. Anyway, let's get into mannequinization because that's what we're here to do. So, bear with me a little bit, guys, as I warm up my hand, and drawings will probably get better as we progress. But for the time being, let's just talk about mannequinization. So, mannequinization is a technique of breaking the world down into simple shapes in order to understand it better. So you can mannequinize anything. You can mannequinize cars, cameras, and people. Now, mannequinizing people is effective because people are so complex that if you had to memorize human anatomy in a way without being able to simplify it into basic cylinders, you'd be racking your brain, and aside from how long it would take to memorize, you're probably never going to be able to recall the information from imagination. And so this is a technique for people who are trying to draw from imagination, and you're taking the human body and breaking it down into parts. So okay, here we go. Let's try to draw what a generic human body would look like, right? So, well, not generic. This guy's going to be jacked. But we have the shoulder, the pecs, the neck, the head, now something I'm going to have to get used to is accepting that that I'm live and I want to stiffen up a little bit, but I'll try to be fast here without being too sloppy. So we have the human body. Let's say the hand comes out like this. The legs come out here and go back. And the feet down like this. Okay, very rough guesstimate of the human body, but something like this, right? Here's where the great trochanter, your femur, is going to start. So understanding to draw the human body like this well takes a lot of knowledge on these organic forms, but you can build up to it simply by breaking down the main human body into three masses, right? And what are the three masses? Well, they're going to be the head, the chest, and the pelvis. So you can translate this into something simpler by doing something like this. And I want you guys to notice a couple things we want to keep in mind when so this is your very basic mannequin. And if you've seen my 25 drawing exercises, then you know that this is one of the exercises to do. I think this is number 20, 21 or 22. But before you can really do the whole body, you want to practice just the main masses, because this is going to dictate the core of your gesture, the core of your structure, and all that stuff. So this is the general idea. You take something as complex as, let's say, the human body here, right? Like this is complex. There's a lot going on in a pose like this, but if you can, drawing from imagination is basically a mindset of looking at information, distilling it into simple patterns you can remember. Sorry, my dog's hacking up. Okay. Yeah, so drawing from imagination is a process of looking at information and simplifying it so that you can recall the most important stuff. In a human body, the most important stuff to remember is these simple masses, because from here, let's look at how we can build onto it, right? So if I know these three masses and I know their general structure, and give me a second, I'll be going back to answer questions right after I sort of finish this line of thought. Let's say if you know how to stack these boxes, then it gives you an easy entrance into drawing anatomy. Whereas otherwise, anatomy is such a difficult endeavor. So let's say you have a box structure like this. These three structures, right, they're simple boxes, and you practice boxes for a little bit, you can draw something like this. And then now let's look at how these attach and how this makes a human body. Well, at the top of this box here, we can add the shoulder. So let me actually draw this in here. So we have a box sort of like this. And now there's some details to know, as in there's a slope actually where the traps are. So the human body isn't actually like 90 degrees. It's like 90 degrees, plus you add a triangle for the neck and shoulders, right? Like this, you see? So, but you can see where the box builds on. So let's add some muscles to this. Well, first thing we do is work through our box, so we know how it looks through and through. Something like this. And then we want to map through the center of this and this. We want to put some shoulders, right? So you notice that you don't see the shoulder on the other side given the angle. Hey, where do you get your reference? In the link in the description, you should be able to access this Pinterest board that I've, it's called Mannequinize These. So these are just the poses I'll be going through today. So if you want to follow along, then feel free to do so. You'll have access to that board. Just so you guys know, I have a stream schedule somewhere here. Oh, here. This is the stream plan to go over basic mannequinization. I'll do a demo from these gestures, and then I'm going to show you how you can use mannequins to draw from imagination, where I'll go into perspective and I'll go into planning your drawings from imagination. So now we're building up this structure, right? And so from connecting these heads, we can do the same thing we did here. And you gotta look through the top of the box, which we're not gonna see from this angle, but you gotta connect like this, right? And what we're doing here is creating the vertebrae, right? And now let's add onto the head. So we have some structures, some basic cubes here, but there's some landmarks we got to know. If you've watched my head drawing video, then you know some of these landmarks. First thing we can do is take this is a side view of the head. What we can do is split it into 6 parts and remove the bottom left box. So if we took this, what we do is draw thirds through it and then take this back part off like this. If we wrap this around, this will give us good guides. So the reason we take this off is because the head is sort of rectangular, mine especially, it's sort of rectangular, but the neck connects into the head, right? So the neck has to connect. For example, the neck doesn't connect like this, it connects into the head. It slots into the skull. Like this, right? And then this is where I would go. This is where our skull would be, right? So that's how and this is a long skull, but it's my head, so it makes sense. I'm gonna take a second to just answer some of the questions. Why is the chest box tilted for that angle? So the human body is not straight. So if I drew, this is a mistake I made for a long time. If you draw a human body like this, that is stiff as cardboard, man. Like this is not how the human body looks. Why? Because like every organic object is a series of elegant balance, right? So something you'll notice is that ideally, a well-drawn figure looks like this. There's a flow. So what happens is there's a curve. The first curve is the back of the head. And this energy translates to the chest being pushed out. And what this does is it translates to the buttocks being curved out. Because now it's going inward and outward. And then what's happening? The quadriceps curve out. And then that goes back to the calves, right? So the human body, and I can show you, will draw a series of curves, and then it's basically the human body. Right? You see how these curves make up the human body? So that's the human body is just a balance of curves and straights. So you really want to keep in mind that as you're drawing the chest, make sure you have this acute angle from the chest and the pelvis. It's never stacked straight, it's tilted. And I'll just take a second here to answer some questions and sip some coffee. Dude on the left's got that Rick and Morty build. Yeah, he does. Okay, let's see here. Hi from Brazil. Hi, Allison. Yes, this live will be saved. It'll be edited and then shortened down, so it won't capture all the yap. But can you mannequinize animals? Yes, of course. Yes, you can mannequinize animals, and that's something I need to practice more. So I'm not gonna demonstrate on. I'll probably demonstrate it on the stream, and sort of. I'll demonstrate it on the stream at some point, but it's not gonna be good. I'm gonna look up the Instagram account Unag that I'm talking about. Dude built like you guys are too much. Wait, I'm doing it with you. Awesome. I like those Pentel pens. They're great, by the way. This is a Pentel sign pen. That's what it's called, the Pentel sign pen. You guys can't see that, but my biggest difficulty of using a box to draw the head is making it too tall or too wide. Any advice? I would correct your box as you do it. So if you know the issue, you're halfway to the solution, right? So if you know that you're drawing the box too tall or too wide, take that moment and correct yourself right there. Because, I mean, if I draw a box like this and I know it's too wide for the head, then in that moment you correct yourself. If you're trying to draw an actual box, you correct yourself. And just over time, that your instinct's going to be overridden by your correction. So, how do you like the Lamy Safari? I liked it a lot, but I'm enjoying the thickness of this line now because it helps me simplify. Yeah, I've been using the Lamy Safari quite a bit. Boy, just when I needed this most. Awesome. Okay, is there such thing as too many guidelines? I feel like I got lost in them sometimes. Yeah, sometimes there are too many guidelines, and if you think there are too many, then dial them back a little bit, right? And because the whole thing is that you want to draw so many guidelines that you see them when you close your eyes. And then if you can see them when you close your eyes, then you'll start to be able to draw things without needing to draw the guideline because it's in your head. Let's show you how this applies to an actual human figure. And what we can do is start mapping some places. So the shoulder joint, obviously, we will apply the shoulder joint. Let me just draw this arm out. What I want you guys to keep in mind here is that there is a perspective grid happening here when I'm drawing this, right? The fact that I can see the bottom of this, the fact that these lines are going somewhere. Notice how all these lines share a similar descending nature, right? They're parallel in the way that they're descending, right? They're not parallel, but they all have the equal distance between them, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means our horizon line's got to be somewhere down here, right? Somewhere like this. So that means I know that even if I took out the quadriceps, I know if the knees were here, they'd be somewhere like this. We'll get into this as we do drawing from imagination. But let's add some muscle to this. Well, for the face, the side of the head is where the ear starts. The ear is essentially directly in the center of the head on the side, both vertically and horizontally. And wrapping around, notice that you can use these guidelines to wrap around your planes, right? And now I'm putting basically a pyramid on the face, and that's going to be the nose. And now something you can do here is you could put the eyes directly on top of the head, but you want to sink them into the head, right? Because eyes aren't directly on the surface of your head. They're usually sunk in a little bit. So what you can do is sort of crawl this back a little bit. You notice how we can get the eyes in there, right? And drawing this out, we'll get the head in, right? The mouth wraps around. So everything's wrapping around the angle of the box right now, right? Everything has to follow that same angle. Even the eyebrows are following that angle. So we're going to go from here. Now, in the center of this box, that's where the muscle attaches, right? That's where the chest muscle attaches. If we want to add mass to it, then we can do so by building out mass from this box. Now this is getting a little messy, and I'll go into specific. I'll break down the head, the chest, and I'll show you guys the rules on a new sheet of paper. But this is just to show you guys how all these forms are. Once you know how to draw the mannequin like this, you're really close to being able to just build on one step at a time, until you can get to something reasonably human-like, right? And here's an important connection. The corners of these boxes represent some important landmarks on the human body. They do converge, Ziggy. Hi from Italy. Offer submitted. Oh, amazing. Hi, Dad. Yes, I'll give you guys tips on constructing the pelvis as well. But do you guys notice the connection between these two boxes, here and here? You want to be aware of these 4 points because they represent on your rib cage the lowest point of your rib cage. Not the lowest point because there's still 3 that go kind of like that, but they represent a curve on your rib cage that you can feel, and I'll actually show you in anatomy here where you'd find it. So let's see, something like you can't see it here. Here. See, nope. You see this mark right here? That is what's indicated by the corner of this box. So that's this mark right here. And then the right about, let's see here. The pelvis, I think it's called the asis, is indicated, this is tough, we're not finding. Oh, here. So you see this subtle little, there's a subtle bump right here, and that is what marks your pelvis and separates your abdomen from your quadricep, your leg. So these 4 points are really important because they help us mark out the figure. So how I'll show you we can do that is right along here, you can follow this box out and you can separate the stomach from the legs, right? See how that indication tells us where the ribs are. And then what we can do is even separate out the volume on the side. So this would be the side plane, and then this would be the front plane. So I can tell it's getting a little bit messy, so I'm going to go onto a new page. But that's a general breakdown as to why you want to mannequinize. So let's talk about some proportions. Let's see how do you determine the space between pelvis and rib? Yes, good question. So it's a little bit, I notice each person who talks about mannequinization does it a little bit differently. So Michael Hampton I'll show you guys actually. So Hampton will use the mannequin, and he will give there a lot of space. Now some people, I think Tom Fox, some people connect the rib cage and the chest and the pelvis just like this. Now you can do this. It's just not as accurate. So you can do this and then just know that you're extending your rib cage a little long, or you can do this and sort of build up the awareness of how much space should be between them. There should generally not be very much space. I would say maximum the length of your pelvic box is how much there should be, but probably not. Probably half of that. So let's just do some more mannequins, and then we'll acclimate a little bit to how they should look. You could fit roughly a fist between the space. Yeah, it's not that much space. When drawing bigger or muscular bodies, should you warp the default mannequin to fit the figure? No, you should not warp the mannequin to fit the default figure. So the way you want to think about the mannequin is sort of the thinnest. It's more than just bone, but it's like the thinnest version of the human anatomy you can imagine. So let me just show you guys how I do these a little bit. I'm going off track a little bit, but just to give you guys the look at the big picture here with the mannequin. The thing is, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's a tool to help you And now you can actually vary the mannequin a little bit. So you can do it more realistic where you jut out the chest, right? You jut out the chest and then you give a slot for the, and Tom Fox does this, right? This is a little bit more accurate to what the actual anatomy is like. But when you add fat or muscle on top of it, those variances decrease. So the point is you want to practice building a generic model that you can use to pose figures, and then afterwards you can decide the body type of those figures. So notice how I'm giving ample space between my legs and making the quadriceps really thin. That's because we just are trying to understand their proportion and structure. We're not trying to replicate a specific body type, because that'll make it harder to the whole point of the mannequin is to memorize a generic placeholder for an object, whether that's a car, whether that's a person, or whether that's an animal. Now I'll do a animal to show you guys a generic, and it's not going to look real good, but it's going to be an animal, because there are generic proportions that make an animal, just like there are generic proportions that make a human. And the goal is to memorize the most generic proportions so that you can use it the most freely. All right, so let's say, and now here we have a perspective grid. Oh, thank you, Y Gamma. I'm really not that good, but I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for watching, by the way, guys. It's such a privilege for me to be speaking and you guys to be joining and taking your time to watch this. So thank you so much. I hope you learn a lot from this. And please keep asking questions, and I'll try to get to all of them. Yes, it's exactly Tom Fox's mannequinization. This is what he does. He has a more detailed mannequin that's a bit harder to get used to than Hampton's, but it has a bit more nuance to it. So hopefully you guys can see this grid that's happening. You can mark out the placement of the feet and then the difference of placement in the shoulder, and I can tell you, or hopefully you can tell me where the horizon line is now. Because if I can see the top of someone's shoulders, just barely, where would I be? Well, if you can see the top of their shoulders, you're probably not below their shoulders, you're probably above their shoulders. So the horizon line is somewhere like this. And the thing that I like about drawing from imagination is it alleviates the pressure to do things right. You just have to do them kind of right? I don't know if this is the exact horizon line, but it's close enough. And if it's close enough to create a drawing that feels like the space is real, then you've achieved your goal if you're just trying to draw from imagination. Ultimately, you just want to have fun with it, right? So, as you can see here, we have a general perspective grid happening like this, right? This is the space we've created from this mannequin. And now this is why drawing from imagination isn't about thinking about things before you put them down. Sorry about that. Drawing from imagination isn't about imagining it and then drawing it. It's about creating something and then recognizing the pattern it implies and then building out from that. Oh, thank you, Pero. I'm glad. Not that good, he says. Let me just double check some comments and see if there's questions. I never know. Okay, I'm going to make a list of things I want to cover before the stream's up. So if you guys want to take your time right now to just shout out topics that you want me to cover, hopefully, preferably about mannequinization or drawing from imagination, but foreshortening, one of them we'll cover. Foreshortening. Hi, Garth. Everybody say hi to Garth. He is the owner of the Animation Tutor. He's been a freelance artist and professional for about a decade, and he's going to be hosting a lot of the classes on the Drawing Club. He's my mentor, actually, so I learned with him for a few months and have been working with him for a couple of years now, and I got into school because of it, so he's been an amazing teacher for me. Leo, what's up, man? how to go about learning anatomy on top of the basic shapes we're learning here. Yes, okay, I'm definitely going to cover, and that's actually, yeah, that's going to be, when's that slated for? Yes, it's going to be in the mannequinization demo. So we're going to do that as we get to these. Proportion when drawing a character from an angle. Yes, let's do, yeah, for shortening angles. How do you know proportion of things? Connecting midsections and hips. Okay. I know it moves a little when the arm stretches, but it's been difficult for me to find a limit. Some of these questions are, the answer is purely experimentation, because even if I told you like how to draw a head to a T, the question, how do I get used to it, is always going to be, well, just do it more until it's comfortable to you. Because I know the theoretical proportions of a human, but it's still hard for me, and I still make mistakes all the time. Let me show you some more mannequinization. So let's say we want to mannequinize a dog. So what we'd want to do is first, or a horse, I'm better with a horse, I guess. So a horse compared to a human is going to be, I'm going to draw the basic cube or the volume around the horse. Imagine if the horse got shipped to me in a like package, in an Amazon package, and you want to think about the total volume that the horse would be in. So I know that the horse is probably the same size as a human, so it's going to be something like this. And here's a trick when you're rotating boxes. I've drawn one line following the floor, and where this line is going to go is to a point on the horizon line. How do you decide the other line? Well, it has to go to that point as well. So you see this process of, I think about it, I was terrible at math, but I think about it like algebra, where you have two, it's like I have x plus 3 equals 6. This is like x, this is 3. Well, I know the answer must be 3 here because you have the two variables you need to find this one, right? Because this line goes to the horizon line. Therefore, every other line that this object is in will have to go to the horizon line as well, right? So you see we can build out these vanishing points and these perspective grids intuitively. Once we have a little bit of information, we can have all the information. So let's build out the rest of this horse here. Something like this. And then the horse would be here. And then bam. Well, it would be going down. This line would be going down to the horizon line somewhere as well. And we have this. So now we have the person and then a volume beside this person. And we can add out this floor grid just to show you guys that how these volumes are interacting. How do we add this volume of the horse? Well, you want to be able to imagine an object. And what I could do is break down basic cubes inside this and then carve those cubes out to look like more of what a horse looks like. But I can also start by just doing the volume of a horse that I know. So what I do know is that I want this head of the horse to be up here. And from what I remember about the horse, it's sort of got this pattern. And now that we're on the horizon line, remember, if we're on the horizon line, that means the objects you can't see the top or bottom of them, right? So, something like this. And now a horse is kind of like a funky whistle, right? So you have your head of the horse like this, right? Something like that. And then you have your ears. You can just add as triangles. And now remember, you can't have your ears going this way. You have to lead them back to the horizon line. So something like that. Right? Then we're building out the horse. This might be a gigantic horse. I don't know. How to do my anatomy more dynamic? Well, we're going to cover that. We're going to try to get gestural with it. It's something I'm actually really bad at, gesture. I think the nature of thinking structurally stiffens you up, right? So you want to practice being expressive. And that's, someone commented earlier that they feel like they push their arm a little bit too far. Yeah, it moves a little when the arm stretches, but it's been difficult for me to find the limit. I think the limit is up to you, right? Some people can make the most dynamic foreshortening possible because perspective isn't real. It's a rule set that does not actually apply in real life necessarily. So you can make is forced perspective. You can make a bunch of perspective that feels right, and if it looks right, it's right. I got a dip, but your stream goes well. Thanks for coming, Cade. See you soon. That's my brother. How do you determine how big or small you draw something depending on where it is in the perspective grid? It always is determined by the first thing you draw. Yes, and here's how you determine how big or small it's going to be. Every object that crosses the horizon line dictates the height of your scene. So because the horizon line is here, and I want you guys to recognize the horizon line is only the horizon line for the view that we're capturing, right? This horizon line, what it tells us is the height of us watching the scene. Imagine that this paper is a window, right? Don't think of it as a paper, think of it as a window into a scene. The horizon line tells us how high we are up in the scene. So if my horizon line is crossing someone's face, what that means is I'm the same height as that person. My eyes are this level. So if we drew a side view, let's say if this person was standing here and the horizon line is across their face, what that means is me as the viewer is exactly looking at them. Or let's say I'm holding a camera and what you're seeing in this camera is this scene. Now, if I move the horizon line down here, everything would change and it would be me crouching and recording his pelvis. I don't know why, but right. So your horizon line is where you're looking at the scene from. So from this perspective, and what that means about scaling, by the way, what that means about how big or small something is you scale based on keeping one object consistent throughout the horizon. So if the chin crosses the horizon here, then even if we make the object smaller, the chin will follow. So now that I've drawn the head, what happens to the body? Well, the entire body must follow the proportions of the head. So here we've drawn our head, and I could measure this out, but I know that an average person is about 7 heads tall, right? 7 or 8. This one might be a little bit big. 7 or 8. Whoa, just turned like 60 for a second. 7 or 8 heads tall. What that means is I can take this and I can break this down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's say something like that. And then I can build out my mannequin from there. And it takes a little bit of time to get used to this proportion and sort of intuit it. But if you can do that, now you can build out mannequins in a space. And now there's another person standing here. And then maybe he has another horse. Well, the horse would be on this perspective line as well. So the horse, and now you want to measure the relative space between the horse and the person, right? So I could draw another horse like this and keep the rules relatively the same. And if you do that, then that's how you're going to get believable scaling. It's primarily about making sure that no matter what, so if I want to draw a person right in front of us, what would that be? Well, it would have to be, the head would have to cross the horizon line, right? And he'd be like, hey, right? But let me get this horse in here. So the horse, what I know about the horse is that it's got a big old neck, just huge neck like that. And what I know about the neck is that it leads into the shoulder. I think it's equivalent to the back, weirdly enough. These are the lats of the horse, and it connects to the chest. So this, right? And then it connects like this, right? And then this goes back in space like this, right? And then from here you have your volumes like this. And the human body and the horse body are relatively similar. I mean, we all have pecs, we have lats, they have the same muscles, just in different proportions to us. So we have these, and then the leg comes down, and back here. These also, there was an elbow here that I missed. And the elbow aligns with the, I guess, the knee. These would be the knees, going down to the ankles, going down to the toes, and then down to their big old toe. Something like this. Anyway, kind of a janky looking horse, but that's how you would mannequinize your... See, we can mannequinize all this stuff. And then now we can mannequinize a cat if you want to mannequinize a cat, right? Now, the whole thing, the most important thing, the number one and number two most important thing are proportion and structure. Nothing else really matters if you're not getting proportion and structure right. I don't care if your anatomy looks perfect. It can't look perfect without a good proportion or good structure. Because you could give me like a human body shape, but if you don't tell me the proportion, you don't get that right, and you don't get the structure right, it doesn't look like anything. It just looks like shapes, right? So this goes back to why the mannequin is so important, is because the mannequin is literally isolating proportion and structure. And then from there, we'll add on. And adding on muscle onto a proportionally correct structure is going to be the easiest way to build your knowledge of anatomy. And there's a reason that Hampton and Tom Fox and Peter Hahn, they all draw this way, because as far as I can tell, or as far as they could tell, it's the way to go about it. Yeah, so Ramen asks, how do you go about proportion when you can't eyeball it yet? Do you actually measure the head and make it 7-8 times? Any tips? Yes, absolutely. Everything that you start out with, you have to just measure out. You have to take notes. You have to break it down very structurally. And I had to do that. So when I went to school, you had to do a bone test, and it's like notorious because you had to draw the human body. You had to draw 24 skeletons of the human body and do like turnarounds of it. So you really had to nail down the proportions, and you don't get intuition without doing something so many times that it just becomes habit. So as you can see here, like my horse is janky. So what I'm going to do now is go study the horse, but we're going to stick it to a mannequinization right now. What are good art practices for the human body? Okay, the Hex Gate. Ooh, the Hex Gate. Don't open the Hex Gate. The Hex Gate has asked, what are good practices for the human body? Let's get into what we're here to do, which is mannequinization. And then I'll do a mannequinization demo, and I'll show you how to build muscle on top of it. But let's go to the mannequinization board that you guys have access to if you go to my link in the description. By the way, guys, I'm just showing you guys this demo as a way to tell you guys about Drawing Club, and that's a program that's happening in June. It's a weekly drawing class that you can sign up for in 12-week chunks. It's a affordable option for people who are into drawing but don't necessarily want to specialize right now, and they're into learning basic drawing techniques. We're going to be studying anatomy. We're going to be breaking things down. We're going to be learning how to look at values. All the basics that I wish I learned years ago so that I didn't have to get rejected from art school several times. And for the price, it's going to be well worth your money. I can guarantee that. And yeah, we're looking for the first cohort of this program, and the first 15 people will get $150 off your sign up. So link in the description if you want to sign up for that. Classes start June. I'm excited to see you in class. Let's look at the mannequinization here. So I'm going to pick a pose, and you guys can feel free to go ahead and copy this. We're going to start simple first. I have some foreshortening ones, but let's start with a pose like this. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So my guy's taking a stretch here. Okay, something like this. So what are we looking at when we're looking at this pose? Well, we can start. I'm going to show you guys the gesture, and you might want to do this before doing the mannequin too, because you definitely stiffen up if you don't, if you're not comfortable with the mannequin. So what I'm noticing, and we want to push this pose, right? We want to tell a story with our pose. And what I'm noticing is this person's not really doing like a huge like morning stretch, but what it reminds me of is someone like, oh, and they're waking up, right? So let's do that. Let's push the pose and have a character like waking up. And let's imagine that they're having a morning stretch. And what that would mean is we're going to push the curve that we see. So instead of going with a subtle curve that I see here, I'm going to go with a much greater stretch, right? Something like this. Like, right? Like, yawning. And now, because every time we're drawing, you have to remember that the point of what we're drawing is to communicate. And good communication is concise and clear. Now, this pose can be communicated better if we're going to draw it. We're going to tell a story with it. You see how this line of action is more severe than the image there. So starting here, we're gonna his body's built different though. Yeah, but it's regardless of the body type, we can always exaggerate and squash and stretch. It's a principle of animation and storytelling. It's my first time here and you're outstanding. Wow, my jaw dropped. Oh, thank you so much, Lai Hamid. What are the most common mistakes you see in beginners for these? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. So one of the most common mistakes, I'll just write mistakes to avoid. And if I... So some mistakes to avoid. Stiffness. You really want to have some sense of gesture with your poses. So let's look at this. So we have the general gesture we're going to go for, and let's push this pose. So what I know for sure is that the chest is tilted forward, right? You can see this pinch happening here, actually. You see, right here is that box of the rib cage we talked about. So we can actually indicate that like this. Now let's describe what we're looking at. We're looking at a 3/4 front view, right? 3/4 front. What does that mean? That means that our box is going to be primarily showing the front, but also showing a bit of the side, right? That's 3/4 front. And our perspective is going to be like this. However the character is going to be, they're going to fit within, imagine if they were like in a Barbie doll package, like they came as like this was their box that they came in and it was like Barbie, something like that. They arrived in a box. This is the box it would be based on the perspective we're seeing them in, a 3/4 box. Right. So let's draw this box out. So I'm noticing a stretch like this, right? And then a pinch at the bottom. And now we're pretty close to being eye level with their belly here. And we know this because look at how subtle the curve of the underwear band is, right? But depending on the curve of a band, you can tell how high or low the perspective is. Like if you looked at this, you see how the curve on my washi tape is more exaggerated here. And as it goes up, it straightens out. That's because curves indicate the perspective. So we have a couple questions. Is it more important practicing with boring poses, quote unquote, and angles until you get proportions down, or using varied angles and poses while learning proportions more beneficial? I would say that learning the boring poses, as in they're not foreshortened and they give you a clear sense, something like this, is better because once you understand the proportions, you can foreshorten. But if you don't practice the boring poses, you're not going to know how to draw the dynamic poses. So one will lead to the other, while not the other way around. So, okay, so let's add our other volume here, and we know we're seeing slightly the hips here, slightly down, and we're maintaining that pelvic tilt that we talked about that exists. But we're pushing this a little bit. And we want to get the tilt of this head. And what I'm doing is I'm exaggerating every tilt I see just to get the pose to feel more lively. Because as we draw the mannequin, it's going to stiffen up. Right, so, and then what you can do here is add the pinch, right? Add the pinch and add the stretch. Remember that we're not necessarily capturing the pose. The point here is not to draw what we see from reference, it's to translate what we see so it makes sense to someone else. And this is, I guess this is a mindset that's primarily founded in animation, where it's like, we're not going to ever be able to translate all the information. We're not going to be able to copy that, so we're not going to try that. We're going to take what makes an action important, the most important parts of the action, and distill it into its essence, right? So this pinch I'm adding here isn't representing the person. It's representing the dynamics of the physics going on. One side stretches, one side pinches. And, right, so you see we've got this, overall, we've got this pose that's twisting like this. But now we want to follow it through here. So remember, I'm drawing through my mannequin because you want to understand the structure before anything. Right, like this. And keep in mind how the feet are in perspective. Just like always trying to keep this perspective grid in mind. So that means when we get down here, it's going to be more drastic, right? Yes, this stream will be, I'll upload a higher quality of it because I'll cut out the times if I'm just yapping, but I'll try to, I'll see. It's a version of it will be online. And then the feet. Now let's talk about some, so if you guys are doing this along with me, feel free to send me your practice on Instagram afterwards, and I'll do some, if you want some feedback, feel free to send me some, or just tag me on Instagram if you're doing this right now, and we can do a little, we can show people how we're spending our time. So we have this, and then the arms come around, like, yeah. Elbow out here, arm here. And now for hands, it's not really important. You just indicate hands however you really want to. I like to go for just the simplest shape of the hand I can think of for the scene. Right, and there's our pose, you see? And then now we can see how, now let's say and this is an exercise that I do for drawing from imagination. Let's move off of this pose, and using the mannequin, let's try to draw a pose from imagination. Because now what we've done now is we're trying to draw a pose from imagination, which is hard. So we've done the legwork ahead of time to have the visualization necessary. So we've done the gestural work, we've done the structural work. Now let's see if we can just do the sprinkle on top of drawing from imagination. So doing a pose from imagination, you want to be able to simplify into thinking like this. So everything I'm drawing, I'm adding detail, but I'm trying to think about the base shape. So let's say this head being tilted forward. I'm drawing in detail, but I'm really trying to think about the base form of this head. I'm looking at the perspective here and imagining how I would put on the information. So, and this is the hardest one, obviously by far, but so, and let's try to add some expression here, like this person's tired. And now looking at the fact that I can see the bottom of this chin, I think I have to, and I might have messed up the perspective already, but that's, person's tired, like, oh. Let me actually make sure you guys can see the stream well here. Like, We'll give him like bedhead. Scruffy. He's just waking up. He's just, this was me this morning. I gotta go, but I'll watch replay. Great to have you here, Ziggy. Thanks for coming. There is asymmetry. Let's read some comments. It's like most things, repetition and muscle memory. I play guitar, and most of the time I don't think even when I play a song because I've already played 100 times. Absolutely, exactly. You can't. Drawing from imagination is kind of just drawing, except you do it so much that you can understand the patterns without having to look at them. And now, but it's a lot of this too. It's building your brain to see simply. So looking at this, I'm trying to see the simplest patterns I can imagine. So one of them is going to be this. Something like this. Right, something like this. Something like. Now this head might be massive. We're always making mistakes here. I got a lot of messages from you guys on Instagram, and feel free to message me. I'm actually really bad at responding, but I love when you guys reach out and ask for whatever. If you guys want help, if you guys just want to talk to me, feel free. But one thing I often come across is students having a hard time with drawing and not putting pressure on themselves. But the thing is, it's good to have pressure. I put pressure on myself to get better. But if your pressure supersedes your willingness to draw, because it's so high and it's so overwhelming that you don't even want to draw, the very thing it's trying to achieve has backfired, right? So you really want to know that, especially if you want to draw from imagination, especially if you watch my channel to learn how to draw from imagination, the whole thing is that you have to accept that it's the worst you're ever going to make. Of course, this is going to be worse than if I drew it with a pencil. That's the game, right? That's just par for the course. So having expectations otherwise would just not be the way it works. And now we all want to be like Guy or Dongho Kim or all these artists that seem to be able to do it well, but the thing is they've done it for longer than we've been alive most of the time, and they've done it for years. Like, if you do anything for years, the people first starting out are going to be amazed. And drawing from imagination is a skill in itself. I don't know if you guys have seen Proko's stream where he did he was doing a demo on drawing from imagination, and he talked about, well, he was going to do it, and then he drew a kangaroo. Someone asked him to draw a kangaroo, and it turned out like abysmally. It looked kind of like a fetus, and he's an amazing artist, but that just goes to show that it's like, if I've been practicing drawing from imagination, if you told me to paint a picture, it would be terrible. I don't know how to paint. Not all art is the same thing, right? So we're refining ways of thinking. Now, if you've practiced thinking to draw from imagination for years, then it's going to be natural to you. But if you didn't, then you're going to be sort of, it'd be unreasonable to really think that you're just going to be able to pop something out that is good. So that's just to say that the sooner you can embrace imperfection in your art as a journey as a whole, the sooner you can embrace imperfection, the sooner you'll get what you want, which is A, satisfaction from your art. You can choose to like your art today, and B, you'll learn faster by doing it. All right, beating yourself up or putting pressure on yourself to get better is almost a surefire way to not get better. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that, I guess. But you can see here now the anatomy is kind of janky, but you see what we're doing. This is how you build up your ability to draw from poses from imagination. That stream. It almost ended the channel, lol. Yeah, it was. Learning dynamic poses. Love with this channel. Learning dynamic. Thank you so much. Yeah, that stream was it was funny. It wasn't great for him, but he rolled with it and it became a meme, right? I gotta go. Greetings from Peru. Heck yeah. First time I saw Kim Jong-ki draw, I was amazed. I tried to copy him, but it turned out bad. You really cannot see what the artist thinks. Yeah. He has a line in an interview where he goes, "It's tragic that you guys can't see the lines that I see." And what he's talking about is these grid lines, right? Because once you do it for so long, it's just second nature to you. You just understand that every object must follow a pattern in perspective. So I want to talk about break down more of the so yeah, here's the general pattern that we want to implement, right? So gesture, mannequin, imagination. Now you can do this over and over again, and I'll actually show you guys. So I do this, so this is the drawing club. I do this in an example like this. You see, we have the pose, and then we can draw the mannequin over it. You guys might not see this very well, but yeah. So I'll show you, that's actually on my Instagram. You guys can see some of the mannequinization information, but that's the general idea. Now let's do some more poses. Let's do some more poses and I'll answer some more questions here. Okay. And I'll go into detail about the anatomy here because I know it's been asked. So let's do some of the anatomy here. Where am I going here? Okay, let's see. Okay, I think this one's a good pose for showing off the anatomy. I've been putting off doing mannequinizations a lot until this stream. I've learned some things already. Awesome. Okay, so let's look at this pose. So something I'm seeing is that the gesture of this pose is really on the curve of the back and it flows out something like this, right? And the head comes here and you want to capture that curve. Now, let's get the mannequin in. Something like this. Now I'm going to adjust the mannequin. I'm going to cut off the back side because that represents the skull shape a little bit better. And this is the center. And now there's a twist, right? There's a twist and we want to get that twist down. So how's that twist going to look? Well, something like here. Then I think it goes like here a little bit, right? And now let's add the neck. Like that. And then you can see what's happening is that this side comes out more now. And now it comes out like this. Something like that. Right, so we've got the twists down, and we got the poses down. And then we want to add in the legs. Like this, here. This one's going down. We're not seeing the inside of this leg because it's going down in space, right? So the contour would look something like that. Whereas this one, the contour would look something like this. What that means is we can add the shadow going around. And now this is why we practice the basic forms, because this is absolutely this is absolutely just practicing basic form intersections, right? Now that's why if you practice, so form intersections are going to be stuff like this. right? If you practice basic form intersections, you can draw anything you want because the world is just forms. I would say that you wanna, Mustafa, I would say that you wanna practice mannequinization before you really get into anatomy, and I'll show you why right now. Because once I'm building this out, I can build out, and I'll zoom in a little bit so I can show you guys. Let's take this and zoom it in a little bit. Just so I can work on a cleaner canvas and show you guys how the anatomy is going to build on here. Okay, the reason you want to start out with your mannequinization is because you're actually doing anatomy work right here. You're just doing the holistic anatomy. Now, what we call anatomy is muscles and stuff, but anatomy is really proportion and structure. And the final layer to anatomy is your muscle. So let's see here how we can work on the anatomy here. Well, if we have the rib cage here and we have the shoulder joints, I'll tell you some anatomy stuff. Your shoulder joint is held in place by a scapula, something like this, by two scapula, like this. Now these wrap around the body, right? So if your arms go forward, if your arms, let's say we can draw the rib cage. If your arms go forward, then they come around, and if your arms go backward, like this, then they stay on their side, right? And just so you guys know, this is where the neck comes out, like this. Right. So from this pose, we can see the scapula right here and right here, so we can indicate those. And with this mannequin, we can start indicating the muscles. So from the shoulder to the top of the neck, where the neck meets the head. So let's draw a head in here. So let's do a head here. From the shoulder to the top of the head, we have a muscle. Now these are the trapezius muscles, right? And they wrap around. And at the corner, so we have the box. This is the back of your head, of your chest, sorry. So, right, this is your back. Right on the intersection of the top of this box, right on the intersection of the top of this box and the center of it is your C7 vertebrae. Now there's this, you can feel it on the back of your neck, a big bone, and that's the vertebrae that connects your neck with your spine. Well, it's still part of your spine, but, right? So there's this vertebrae here. Now the muscle doesn't attach there. The muscle, point is that the neck muscle, which is the trapezoid, trapezius, attaches like this. You see, when you do this mannequin, you can find how it builds out into the muscle, right? So the shoulder joint, for example, builds muscle out from the, you connect the muscle from the arm cylinder to the box, right, to this box. Now my drawings aren't the neatest right now, so I'll try to work on that, but see here. And the same thing with the head. Using the planes of the head, we can sort of mark out where the face would shift in perspective. So knowing the anatomy only helps if you know the structure, right? So that's why structure comes first. Because it doesn't matter how detailed your pose is. I can draw a semi-realistic person, but if it looks proportionally correct, then it's going to be more important than if it has the muscles that are technically true with a person, right? So that's sort of how the muscles are going to build on. Not gonna lie, using pen for art scared me so much before. Yeah, it can be scary. It's because, yeah, if we're scared of failing, then the pen is gonna be our biggest fear. The neck drawing you just did with the attachment to the shoulder just taught me so much. Amazing. Single greatest awakening I had was simple shapes and being aware of length, width, approximation by observation. Work with them. It's so quick to see if improvement or not. Absolutely. The reason I'm so big on this is because it is sort of the linchpin to good structural drawing. I took anatomy and physiology, and he's 100% right. Even if you know the anatomy, it doesn't really help much when it comes to getting initially proportions down. Love that. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk more about... Let me just do some more demos on the... We won't look at reference for now. I'll show you guys reference if you'd like. Comment if you do want it, but I'll show you guys some... I'll just do some demos on... Let me actually get a new paper. I'll do a bunch of mannequins, and I'll show you how to build on the person. So let's just do some mannequins from imagination. Let me do one like this. And now you might want to add some twist just to make your mannequins more fun. You can work on the twist, right? And by the way, if you're starting on mannequins, I'd recommend only doing the three right now. Just doing the 3 poses and trying to get used to how they feel, because this exercise is really just about stacking boxes correctly and making sure that on every side you have a pinch, you have a stretch on the other. So here's the stretch, well the pinch would be here, right? Simple, right? Let's do another one. And now I'm trying to keep the stretch here. I want one to be back in space and I want one to be coming forward. Let's do another. Let's do a back view. So the back is leaning forward, probably something like this. And then let's twist this one like this. Something like, here we go. It's gonna come forward. Now you can draw this center line out, and that's gonna be your spine line. All right, and let's say we twist this head actually this way. Something like that. So a few poses here. Let's do some more. And then I'll show you how to add muscle to all these in a second. So yeah, underside of the head, that's a tough angle. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for still watching. I really appreciate you guys commenting in the chat, asking questions. This is amazing. The response to my videos has been really, really astounding, and I'm continuing to work on some videos. The next video I'm working on is actually a perspective video because I've been putting that one off. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to be doing that. And then a video on scaffolding and learning how to always get the most out of exercises, because there's a problem with exercises, and it's that if you don't know specifically the level of skill you're at, then someone telling you what exercise to do doesn't always help, because you might not be at the level where that exercise is going to help you, and you might even you might need something else. So I'm going to make a video about how to address those and how to teach yourself a little bit better. Okay, so you see we've got 3 mannequins now. Let's talk about muscles. Oh, we got to add the arms in. I forgot about that. So I'm going to add this hand doing this, and this hand's going to come forward for demonstration purposes. Okay, and here we're going to add all this, and here we're going to do some this. Okay, here we go. Arm out, arm back. Okay, time to add some muscle. And I think I'll do it with my beloved Zebra Fude brush pen. This guy's awesome because it's thin enough that I can... This one's too thick. This one's a ballpoint. I wanted this. Okay, let's do it. So let's break down muscle. Where does the muscle attach? Well, some important points here. All muscles are just push and pull dynamics. So the most important thing I learned from anatomy class in art school was you're not going to memorize anatomy until you memorize function. Function follows everything. If you forget something, then logic will help you remember the most, right? So, for example, let's scrap anatomy for a second. If you didn't know how to draw a car, you would understand how to draw it better by describing what a car needs. Like, okay, well, a car needs 2 wheels, well, 4 wheels. It needs a steering wheel. It needs a compartment where the person would sit. It probably needs some seats. And then it's like, okay, well, do you just need the steering wheel and the seats? Well, you'd probably need a dashboard of some sort of technology that you can look at, right? So you can logic your way through. And this is the basis of concept art, is even fictional stuff can be logicked through. You can make things up, right? So anatomy is very much the same way. The muscles go to certain places for a reason. And you might not know the anatomy, but you could talk your way into the reason and go like, okay, well, if I need to raise my arm, where is the tension coming from? And you can tell like back and forth, and it takes some studying, but to memorize it requires understanding the function first, is my point. So for an raised arm, I marked the X here, and I marked an X here. What we have with a raised arm is a muscle group, the pectori, the pecs. I'm not going to use these Latin names, bruh. I don't got to like that. So the lats, it's not the lats, it's the pecs. So the pecs come like this. And now the pecs connect to your collarbone and your arm, right? To a specific point on your arm. Now this specific point is in between your bicep and your tricep, right? And then on top of this, you have your shoulder, which goes on the outside. So this shoulder wraps behind the view we can see here. Why? Because the shoulder doesn't connect inside the shoulder isn't connecting here, it's connecting on the other side. So that's why you see we have this very specific overlap, and that's how you get these, like Kim Jung-gi is amazing at this. The way you get forms to read simply is by having correct overlap, because if you can have correct overlap, then the form you're trying to indicate, the job's already been done, right? So with this overlap, you see how we can suggest a lot with simple lines, because right now we know what's what. So I just want to take a break for everybody to say hi, because this guy's been wanting some attention. So everybody say hi to Buddy. This is my dog. Hi, Buddy. He's an old boy, but he's young in heart and spirit. Okay. All right, back to it. So, well, I'm just gonna check some questions real quick. Would love a closer look at mannequin of the face and neck. Absolutely, we're gonna do the neck and the face. Always thought learning anatomy was way better to get results. Learning anatomy is good to get results. You have to structure it well. Like learning, I used to do muscle breakdowns before I even knew how to draw like basic forms, and the information doesn't go anywhere. Oh, love from the chat. Awesome. Buddy's 14. Lil bro is 14. Yeah, that's really important for me. Knowing where you are and what you need rather than what artist advice generally tend to give. Yeah. So that's something I've been trying to do with my videos, is make sure that advice is good, but advice, there's a law of equal and opposite advice. Everything you say to a person, depending on who you say it to, could be the best advice or the worst advice. So what I'm trying to focus on in my videos is how to learn for yourself, because that way you can use the advice that works for you or adapt it, right? Okay, so what we have here, you see the shoulder attaches to the, it's called the distal end of the arm. Distal meaning the distance, like the far end. So there's the inside and there's the distal end. I think the inside is medial. I don't know. No, it's not. But you see that the shoulder attaches to the outside of the arm, which is why it wraps around, which is why I see the bicep here, the shoulder here. So, and you can see we gotta get some nipples with form here. We're not just drawing dots. These are raised. No stone unturned in our form drawing. Okay, so you see we've got the neck here. Well, the neck, if I was jacked, I could show you guys, but I'm not. So the neck is defined by a couple main muscles. Now this is a mouthful. This is the sternocleidomastoid, and the reason it's called the sternocleidomastoid is because it connects to your masseter, which is the jaw, so the mastoid, and the sternum, right here, and the clavicle. So it connects to the sternum and clavicle to the jaw. So that's how you can memorize the function again. And then that's right back here, by the way. That's like this muscle. And then there's your head bone. That's the technical name for it. And then your ear. Your ear like this, right? So we're building out this mass. And then now, as we saw earlier, let's bring this guy back. This muscle, this guy right here, this bro, we gotta get that in there. And that's gonna be back here. And now you wanna indicate the volume like this. Bam. Right? Now you have some gaps right here. Like, see, you have some little, there are some, they're called fossas. They're like hollows, right? And that's just because your body's not filled with muscles. There's like a specific composition of them, right? So there's sometimes gaps. But yeah, you see, this is how we're building out the muscles, you see? Thank you so much. Map the tree. I'm so glad it's been instructive. Oh my god, Melva, no way. That's crazy. It seems like people in your community really value art. Okay. Do you draw 2D shapes over 3D form while considering how interactive the original 3D? Yeah, so I mean, 2D shapes over 3D form is called volume mapping. So 2D shape, 3D form, right? So it's about being able to see, and this is a really good practice because you want to be able to see in shapes and understand in form, which will make observational stuff really easy. But let's add on. So we have you see how all this is working so far? And I'm just going to continue with the landmarks of the mannequin here. So right here indicates the rib cage. This is where your rib cage is poking out. And we see it in a lot of poses. So, for example, and it's usually going to be if people are tilted forward, you're going to see it. But right here, amazing example. See, oh, these are great. These are great. You see this little curve? That's what we're indicating here. And as you can see, you see the pecs and you see the shoulder hollow. And then look what's wrapping around. It's wrapping around right here. There's a wrap. That's your latissimus dorsi muscle, dorsi, wrapping around. And that's what we're going to indicate right here. So let's first add in the bicep. So we're going to add in bicep. And then you see onto this back mass, onto this back, we're going to add the lats. And that's going to be like this. And then these are the serratus muscles. And the reason they're creating these shadows is because they interlace with the ribs. And they help you raise your arm, right? So you'll see boxers have really defined serratuses because these are the... So what they do is they come out like this, and then they... do they go up? No, they go down, I think. They do this. And now these are your ribs. and that these are the serratuses, or the other way around, one of the two. I'm pretty sure these are, I don't know. Honestly, I know enough. I don't know that much. So, yeah. So here we go. And then we're getting down to the pelvis. Now, someone asked a long time ago, how to draw the pelvis. Let's do it. So here we have and now you can see, do you guys see these bumps? This is exactly the border of this box, right? Right here. Now these are the aces. This is the crest of your pelvis. And you guys can feel it on yourselves. And what that does is it creates a border between the muscle and the bone. So we're going to follow along the contour here like this. And now with the anatomy, your abs sort of follow a track in the center of your body like this. All right, right down the middle. And what we're going to do is wrap this around, and now we got to get in his right here. And now we're going to indicate the abs by following the contour of them. And then right here, and we'll show a better view of it soon, but the buttocks attach to the back side of the pelvic box. And I'll actually indicate what's going on here. Out of the pelvis, usually we have a extended leg bone. This is the great trochanter, and this is you can feel it right on the side of your legs. It's a big bone. So that's what it looks like, and it's where the muscle of your legs attach. They attach to this point right here, this X right here, and they attach to the side. From here, we're going to build out. All right, guys, so that's a look at how the mannequin actually lets you build out some anatomy, right? And then now before we do more of these, I'm going to do the face. Could I get a yes in chat if that's what you want to see, the face? Just want to make sure that I'm telling you guys what you want to see. Just reading up on some of the chat. Yeah, volume mapping, kind of hard. I can't lie, it's pretty tough. Yes is in the chat. Okay, we're going to move on to the face. So let's do this. Now I have a video much more in depth about this on my YouTube channel already. So we have the face here. Let's take a look at drawing the face. Okay, so we start with the mannequin head, something like this, something like this. Now the fun thing with the head is that it doesn't need to really fall. I'm gonna new sheet of paper time. New sheet of paper. Here we go. And we'll do a bunch of heads. So the thing with the face is that faces come in all shapes and sizes, so you don't have to follow the generic version of it. Probably should to map out the features, but we're going to do some foreshortened views and stuff like that, just so you get a look at how all this works. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. Okay, here. This is a 3/4, like a top view. This is a up view. And then let's do a straight side view. Something like this. Okay. So, first thing you want to do is decide the front side. Although that's probably going to be done because the front side is the thinner side. So, in this case, this is the front because it is thinner than this. In this case, this is the front, but I should probably extend this back a little bit. All right. This case, this is the front. But again, I should probably extend it, or I could cut out the box. Cutting this out makes the head more accurate, but it also lets you know where the neck's going to slot in. So let's do some things here. So the first thing you could do with your, it's not my, thank you, Evan. It's not my method with the face. It's Tom Fox's, it's Stephen Hampton's. It's a lot of this, like anyone who draws with I call it constructivism. Anyone who draws like that will have this method. But first thing you want to do is go from your basic box, and then what you can do is split it in half. Then remove that half. All right. Now what we're left with is this. All right. Now we can slim it out a little bit. Again, it's really over time you'll build the intuition for what the head shape looks like, but let me show you. This is what your head shape will look like. And then what's going to happen is, the reason we cut this out is so that we can do this. We cut it out so that we can slot in the neck, and it'll do this. Yay! Right? Build out the head. So from here, let's build out some heads. Okay. I'm going to start here because this is the best view for us. Okay, so what do we know about the head? Well, some simple things is A, if you split your head down the middle, this is where you'll get your ear. And the ear is just a C, right? That's your ear. And then we can go 1/3, 1/3. So if you follow the ear out and go around, now depending on proportions, you could have at the top of the ear could be the brow ridge, or you could do the brow ridge at the 1/3 line. So I like the 1/3 because I find it depends on the way you do the heads again, but I'll show you guys some general proportions. Now the brow line, notice how my brow comes around the side of my head a little bit. It doesn't stick purely on one side of the face. It doesn't end here. It comes around. So you want to indicate that. So see this mark here? We sort of want to imagine that it kind of goes around, right? There's a softening of the plane here. So we're going to wrap our head around, our eyebrow around this plane. Right? Similar here, we're going to wrap it around. And what this wrapping means is that we're actually going to have a cutout here. Cut out like this. Let's add in the head here, the structure. Now, as you can see, there's the front plane. We have this curve out the side, and then the side plane here. And we have that. Okay. So from the front plane, what we have is the chin in the center. And the chin, you draw your center line out at the chin, you give it some width, and then you connect the chin to the jaw here. You can do it like that. Yeah, you can do that on the other side as well. But remember that there is a mass in the middle of the face, and that's your nose and mouth. So you can build out that mass like you would any other form with basic construction here. So basic form construction, and the mouth mass, build on like that. And then the face wraps around. So notice that the face doesn't wrap flat. The face comes around, it's flat around here, then it goes onto the mouth mass, and it goes around again, right? So if we're volume mapping the face, it's flat only around this area. Only around this area is it flat, right? And then it wraps around, right? And then the eyes, they're spheres inside the head, both sides. Right, so that's how we build out the volume of the head. And now this guy kind of looks a little janky, I can't lie. But we'll do more, and you can see this is the general breakdown. And now you can push the proportions. I am left-handed. I have to leave, but all the best of luck. Thank you, Matt the Tree. Thanks for coming. Voldemort from the side. You want to see Todd? Like Tom Flex. Face looking up. Okay. Bye, Sky, that guy. Okay. Yeah. So here's a little bit of that method for the head. Something like that, right? Building of the head. And then now how do we slot the neck in? Well, we slot the neck in by understanding where the head would be in this, where the box would be that we cut out. So let's say you have this. You want to draw through your form like this. Bring it down and follow this out like this. Does that make sense? Like that. And then bring that cylinder out. It's basically an intersection, a form intersection. Once again, like, wow, we just got nipples on the screen for a minute. Okay, basically this, right? If you practice form intersections, then you're going to be able to do that pretty easily. My drawing's head is a little wide on the side. Yeah, my dude's a little brainiac over here. Is there a book reference you would recommend for learning point perspective for beginner? Yes, Andrew Loomis's drawing books often cover figure drawing. For all it's worth, covers perspective pretty good, actually. It's brief, but it's pretty good. And Bam Animation's YouTube channel covers perspective as well. Yeah. Okay, so if we give this guy a neck, we can, boom, build it out. And imagining this underneath, or imagining this. And I'm going to switch to my right hand here. Boom, building out. Boom, building out. Right? Boom, building out like that. Boom. Okay, see? So that's sort of how we want to build out the head. Now let's do a view like this. And now you see we have the mannequin structure. You want to remember that it's a spherical form, so I'm going to try to infuse it with some spherical shape language here, just so I get that. What happens is it often gets really blocky, so some spherical shape language, what that'll do. And let me, you know what, this is tough. I might be showing how BAM animation, that's BAM animation, so BAM animation, what did I do? Oh, I thought I crashed the channel. BAM Animation and Andrew Loomis figure drawing for all it's worth. So those are the books that are pretty good. I'm actually, by the way, what you're seeing here is a collection of pages that I've done for the 25 drawing exercises textbook that I'm in the midst of making. So this live will probably be available after I'm done. So these are pages in the 25 exercises I've done. I get a lot of questions on them all the time, and there's a lot of information to add to it to teach you how to do it. So for example, everything I'm talking about mannequinization today is in that book. So I'm showing that there. And yeah, and that's all part of Drawing Club as well, which first 15 people to enroll in that class will get $150 off the first cohort, and you'll be taught by me, by my mentor, and by a bunch of other artists. So let's build this head out. So you feel free to reference these, by the way, because they're pretty good. Stacking and queuing. Stacking and queuing is hard because you kind of have to build out your sense of spatial awareness there. So I'm just going to go over this and just say we ball and try this out. So there's our chin. Let's mark the neck. There's our neck. Here's where our neck's going to connect to the head. Now I know where things are going to go. Now this is the hard part. Getting the nose in here without making it feel really weird. I may very well mess this up. Probably will. I can't lie to you guys. Probably will. Something I'm trying to do is get used to failing on stream because, I mean, absolutely, I mentioned earlier, you want to get used to failing. Never feels good. Never feels good. But I am first and foremost a student too, so I never want to pretend or mislead you guys to think that I know all too much what I'm talking about. But here, bang. Now I'm remembering that the eyebrows are following the form here. Bam, right? Following the form here. Now this nose is very foreshortened. So what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of the bottom of it and not a lot of the top. Pretty tiny nose we got here. Pretty tiny nose. Tough angle though. Tough angle for sure. I think it cuts in a little bit. I think we want to get the eye like this. Something like that. So we kind of got the proportions a little janky, I can't lie. The head needs to be... So what I would do, and here's what you should do if you mess things up like this. Just redraw it. No harm, no foul. Just redraw it. And now I think I want the head back here. I want the nose to come back here. I want the head to be back here. And being able to see it again from a distance, I can remap what I'm doing. And now I'm going to draw the correct, the fix over it. And then, no harm in just redrawing it. So I'm going to try to redraw it as because you're rewiring your brain. Once you see a mistake, fix it. Otherwise, the more distance between your mistake and your solution, the harder it is going to be to unroot that mistake. So if you see a mistake, fix it right there. And over time, you're going to fix it. These shape pictures, is it a book or a website? It is a book that is currently under production and unreleased, except for the 38 or so people who have it. Who, if you signed up about a couple months ago when I said I was making it, then you got it, and I send you guys updates about once a month on how the book's doing. So let's try this again. Now, if you're interested in that book, I'm trying to get it done by end of June. And yeah, it'll be probably available on Gumroad or something. And you'll have the option to get a video accompaniment with that book that'll have me doing a demo of all those live and talking through it. Hampton's book is by far the better book, I think, to progress, because I have both, and I had Tom Fox's book first, but Hampton's book has by far made the biggest difference on my knowledge of anatomy, because he structures it, I think, a little bit more effectively than Tom Fox does. Because Tom Fox's book isn't necessarily the most effective for a beginner, because it requires that you have some of the knowledge of form drawing that I didn't even have, and I was relatively intermediate at that point. Okay, well, this is tough because I'm not maintaining that. This is one of the hardest angles for sure, is the top view. And you see what I'm doing is naturally trying to straighten it out. So I messed that up again. And then here, so if you're having the same problems I'm having, what we do now is go to reference and just find some reference for that. So I'm going to look for a reference that I can follow along with and learn how to draw the head from that angle. So I think you guys might be able to go to reference. So this is a website, by the way, that you might want you might want to go to. It's called referenceangle.com. It's called referenceangle.com gives you faces from any angle that you want. So I could search up. So I'm going to search up what the face I'm looking for in this panel right here. Keep going backwards. Hi, Gon. Is Peter Hahn still coming up with more dynamic Bibles? Yes, but it's been delayed by like 2 years now. So we're going to search up some faces. Bam. And then I'm going to try to get it from a certain angle, which for some reason I'm not finding the angle. I'm just finding the... Okay, it's supposed to give you an angle you can adjust the face from. I don't know. I'm going to stick with mannequinization for now, but that's you'd want to find a reference. Let's do it with this. Okay, we'll just study this. You want to find a reference for the head that you can build, because clearly my knowledge of how to draw the head at that angle is weak. So what we're going to do is look at this, translate the mannequin. So I'm going to do bam, wham, something like this. And now what I'm doing is using the mannequin structure, but since I know the mannequin well enough, I'm infusing it with a little bit of the human structure, right? And this is how you bridge the gap between mannequin and human anatomy into this. Right, so here. Now the thing is, never get too comfortable with reference, because you might find you're great at studying reference. That doesn't mean you necessarily know the thing, because reference is easy. Recalling is hard. So sometimes make sure to test yourself, because I'm looking at the reference now and I'm like, oh, I get it. I don't. I definitely don't. Character's looking up. And then the mouth, because I'm trying to really understand the mouth here. So it comes up and it wraps the form. And it makes sense. Makes enough sense, but I can't seem to get it without reference. And now this part is in shadow. And then the neck, as we talked about, the neck connects at the back, and you can see this dude's got a giant sternocleidomastoid. Look at his, oh, I could have zoomed in this whole time. Look at his giant neck muscle. Damn. Okay, so he got that swole neck, right? And then you see the trapezius muscle here that we talked about. So it's wrapping around like he's jacked. Damn. Okay, so we got something like that. Bam. And then all the things we were indicating earlier about the attachments of the chest and the shoulder. If you're here for that, then yeah, that's sort of what's going on there. Boom. Okay, we got this dude looking as I give all my guys just blank stares. Okay, so that's sort of how it's looking here. And is this view? Yes, it will be available later on. I'll have to catch a VOD, but came to say hi. Hi, Carlos Javier. And that from the jump. You've made quality content. Thank you so much. Followed you on Instagram. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. You're awesome. Thank you, Carlos. Gotta sleep for work. Hey, have a great night. What time is it even? Wow, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours now. Okay. Now I'm going to go to drawing from imagination, because that's what we're doing this for, right? So if you guys have questions about the mannequin, throw them in here, but I'm going to talk about drawing from imagination, and we're going to do this by creating a scene, because this is the most fun part of drawing, for me at least. So let's do it. Let's do it for sure. Nice to hear your voice. John! How's it going, man? John is a classmate and friend of mine from Sheridan, and he is insanely skilled, and he has his own comic right now. If you're in Toronto, go to the Big Guy link, and John, please plug your comic, bro, please, and your Instagram. John is insanely talented. Well, not talented, hard work. This dude draws all day, but Okay. Let's start with a mannequin. Okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Let's be dynamic here. So I don't know what the scene is yet, but I'm just going to start with... my only thought right now is make it dynamic. So the most practical way to do that is to foreshorten and add a lot of contrasting angles. So I've jumped in for the fun time. You have jumped in for the fun time, Florian. Okay, so I'm gonna just try to make the poses dynamic. That's all I know. That's all I'm trying to do right now. So here we go. It's a very dynamic. Wind up being Batman. I'll draw Batman. This is Batman. Let's say this is Batman. Okay, this could be fun. Okay, so I never really draw specific likeness, but I definitely could try. So let's say this is Batman, and I guess great suggestion. That is actually a fantastic. Of course, every time we don't know what to draw, just draw Batman. I loved Batman comics growing up. So that means we have to change a little bit of this pose. Maybe not. And then let's say Batman is So I know I'm seeing the pose I want here. I know I want to have some dynamic cape coming in, but I think I had this pelvis tilting outward. I think I need it to come inward like this so that it makes sense with the anatomy. Batman making a pizza. I'm gonna have Batman probably. I'm gonna probably have Batman. I don't know. I guess attacking the Joker or something. You gotta have him. So I'll just put the face here because it looks like that's the line I drew. So face here. Batman. Let's really push. I really want to push my dynamism with this, right? So really pushing that. And now I'm really bad at actually, I'm pretty bad at gesture and poses, so something I'm always trying to practice. But you guys are going to see the process here. Okay, so Batman, we could do maybe a fight scene. Let's try that. This part's going to be a little bit slower because we're going to just try to make sure the perspective and everything's correct. I want to, again, push the form and get the form feeling right. So you see here, I'm sort of no longer staying exactly flush with how the mannequin is supposed to be. I'm using the general proportions and indicating enough that I know where I want to go with this, but I'm not all too concerned with making it exactly like how the mannequin's supposed to look, because that's like, now I have another purpose of infusing gesture and information into my scene. So here, and so this character is falling. It looks like they got taken off of a building or something. Now let's ask, where are we looking at the scene from? So where is the horizon line in this scene? Well, if we can see the top of his chest, that must mean we are somewhere above this line, right? We're above this line because we can see the top of the chest. Now, are we up here? I don't think so because we can't see the bottom of this. So, oh, we can see the top of this though. So I'd say we're probably, but this we can see because it's tilting. We're probably somewhere roughly around here. And it's okay, if we have a guesstimate, it'll be good enough. So I'm gonna try to do some things here. I'm going to try to think of a scene that's a little bit more dynamic than I'm usually going to draw. So, and given the fact that I'm drawing not straight with ink and I'm drawing with a pen, this will be, oh, ink, but not like exactly a pen. It'll be relatively easier to accomplish. Do horizon lines matter with dynamic figures move? Absolutely, because what's going to keep the figures in the same space is the overall perspective that they have to everything has to share the horizon. Otherwise, it doesn't look like it's the same object. So here, these objects are going to share a horizon line like this, which means that all these objects have to share the horizon line. Every object in your scene shares a horizon line. It must. Well, caveats always, but the vast majority of scenes share the horizon line. Well, every one scene, every viewpoint has one horizon line because you can only see from one horizon. Because again, the horizon is just the level of the viewer, right? It's not really about the horizon. The horizon moves around to meet your eye level. So I'm imagining here we got this big character that's probably like in a tussle with this small character. Probably gonna have their overlap here. Maybe have the neck come out like this. Then the form come out like this. Maybe their hand comes out. I'm imagining they're in like a full Nelson and they're like, ah. This is goofy, bruh. Okay. It looks like he's dragging a body down. Okay. Okay, so there's a fight happening back here. I guess this character's on the ground, it looks like. This character's on the ground. Right? There's a tussle happening here. And let's add some more fights happening on the ground. So how would we do that? Well, we track out the perspective. And now this is going to come together a little bit better when we ink it. Right? So let's map out the perspective. And let's have a character... we could have a character on the floor, just straight up unconscious. I guess we'll have a character on the floor, yeah. So, or we have a character kneeling. This is tough. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm getting the ground plane all too correct here. Okay, so ground plane here, character kneeling like this, something like this. Like this, yeah, okay, so the character here, let's see, he's doing now, what if, let's see, where do you get head references from? Referenceangle.com, Pinterest. Yeah, Pinterest. Do you learn each part of the face individually or at once? You want to learn each part of the face all at once because learning things individually don't really make sense. You want to understand everything at a macro scale, everything as it works together, and then slowly niche down. Is this going to be on the channel later? It will be on the channel later, I guess. Line of action, yeah, line of action is great. So yeah, this is, let's do some more here. So what do we know? Well, if the horizon line is this guy's height, that means people are going to be fighting on the horizon line. Therefore, heads will be on the horizon line. So I'm going to draw more heads on the horizon line like this. And this is going to be head height. So therefore, this guy is in the air, actually. This guy's in the air. This guy's on the floor. Let's say that we have this character Here there will be a character like this. He's a huge character, so we'll do something like this. He'll do. Trying to work out the perspective here. No, this is tough. This is tough for sure. I'll do this. So what I like about working in this rough style first is that I can adjust as I go along. Like I'm seeing that this is sort of big for what I want in the scene. So I'm going to adjust when I actually draw it, and I'm going to make it not so big. So let's say this is somewhat enough information to now just start our scene and see what happens. Like I'm just going to see what happens, honestly, at this point. And it may be nice, maybe not. I'm going to work with blue so that we can sort of hide these after. Okay, so I'm going to use this as, once you've done this, once you've drawn your rough sketch, you can build onto it. And what I like to do is get into the imagination stage before I have all the information, because what we're practicing is working with less information than we need to so we can build our decision making on the fly. That's what drawing from imagination is. Even Kim Jong-gi says he makes mistakes all the time. It's just that if you get really good at creative solutions to mistakes, then you don't need to know everything. You just need to know how to adapt to everything, right? So I'm going to pick one reference point that will be the correct reference point. And that's going to be this relationship between the characters here. Now, everything else is going to scale according to this, meaning I'll adjust the scale of this, I'll adjust the scale of this especially. So let's start here. And I like this because I don't know, I just prefer it. So I'm imagining, let's just start with what I'm seeing, and I'm going to, now it's about using the mannequins that we have, indicating the form that we're seeing. And it's a matter of just putting, like, as I showed you with every section of the mannequin, how to indicate the detail and how to build onto it. Now we're doing it with every section cohesively. So I'm imagining maybe this is like just the shape design looks like a warrior lady. So maybe I make them like a Viking type thing, or I don't know, but I'm giving them some sort of warrior type look. And I see this and I want to give like jewelry and ornamentation or something. And then I'm going to give them a big weapon. So something here. Like that. So now they're holding. So you see we're just building out now from there. It's very fun style. Your ability to build upon a scene is impressive. Thank you. I mean, it's really tough. If you guys know, check this guy out. He's unbelievable. Just discovered him recently, but his drawings are, he's like the next Guy for sure. Bryce Collender. Would you say your imagination grows once you learn about the fundamentals of art? I would say your ability to imagine grows, because it's like Lego blocks. It's literally like Lego blocks. You don't become a better builder once you have more Lego blocks, but you can make more stuff, right? So I'm not imagining. I just am thinking of new combinations for forms, and I do it in the moment. I don't have the scene planned out. Well, you see, this is just what I did. I just build out forms and see if it works, and then on top of it, now I'm going to try to flesh out these combinations a little bit better. But let's give this character some more. So we'll give the axe handle some form and stuff like that. Okay, so I guess this is their axe. And now I'm imagining, and now that I've got the form down, I want to think of clear silhouettes that will sell what I'm trying to indicate, right? So I'm thinking about what, so you see how right now this arm sort of wraps around the baseball bat or whatever the weapon is. I don't want it to. I want it to come down so that we can show that it's clearly an elbow. So probably something like this, right? Just so we have this separation of the form. So now I'm thinking it wasn't the best choice. Okay, that's fine. That indicates it fine enough. It's not as gestural as I would have liked it to be, but let's add this form going off the screen. Okay. So this is some warrior woman. And now that we have this basic form down, what we can do is add to it. So what if this lady had a bunch of skulls attached to their clothing? These are the bones of all the people they've killed. Right. Right, and we can just work on that form. Now that's just thinking about, all that is taking our base form, right? And then just adding volumes to it in the same perspective, right? That's all. I'm thinking about the most basic forms I can think of. How long did it take you to become this good? I've been drawing. I mean, when I was in grade 9, which was about 7 years ago, I wanted to go to art school, and I'd been drawing quite a lot. You can go on my Instagram and look at my art journey, basically. It took me a little bit of time, for sure, but it won't take you that long, especially if you're watching this channel. But it shouldn't take someone so long. I was definitely a slow learner with all of it, I think. Because I've seen people make insane... I went to art school and people are like 17 are better than me, and I'm like, damn, this is tough. Everyone has their own stage and their own speed with how fast they learn. So it's silly of me to be comparing in the first place, but I think everyone sort of has to learn that comparison is not the... I'm about to spit a proverb. Comparison is a thief of joy. But yeah, it took me... I mean, I've been drawing probably... It's been my like full-time job for the last 2 or 3 years. So, and I'm still not that good. So, then again, everyone, even the guy I plugged, Bryce Collender, bro says he's not that good. And if you look at his art, he's insane. But I think every artist feels like they've been drawing so long and they're still not where they want to be. I think that's the part of... I was talking to someone about this the other day. It's like, you don't become the best at anything and get to feel satisfied, because you don't keep going until you're the best if you feel good enough. You know what I mean? If you're okay with second place, you're not the type of person to win like the gold medal, because the people who win the gold medals are the people who like obsess and are not okay leaving anything on the table. And this isn't a toxic productivity. It's not me saying you should do that. It's just I realize the irony of like Kim Jong-gi probably wasn't happy with his art, as he has said many times. He talks about how he makes mistakes all the time and he's not actually that good. And it's like, to have drawn as much as he did necessitates dissatisfaction in the quality of his drawings. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep learning. Right? Because you sort of have to know you don't know to learn. So if you know you don't know, you can't think you're the best. which is why you keep learning, which is ironically why you become the best. I don't know if this is necessarily true, but it was an angle of it that I'd never thought of. So something I'm trying to practice is a little bit better, like, detail with clothing and stuff, because I don't really have much information as to what kind of person I'm drawing. I just have a person I'm drawing. But in time, this will all come in time, I think. That's my hope, at least. All this comes in time. Man lives dangerously, bro. Fiorin, he does. Yeah. Duff Pappy. Dude, I'm 43 and kids are running circles where I was when I was their age. Learning resources are now insane. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's why there's something to be said about people who, like... Nowadays, you see a couple Kim Jong-gis, but you didn't see Kim Jong-gis before Kim Jong-gi, except someone like Heinrich Klei or Katsuya Terada, who... Like, there's definitely something to be acknowledged with the original people, because they had to do it without knowing that they could be those people. It's like... It's one... I mean, there's this phenomenon. It's like the 4-minute mile phenomenon, where it's like, nobody thought you could break the 4-minute mile before, and then someone did after like 30 years. I'm kind of just... I don't know if this story is necessarily exactly true, but the record hadn't been broken for so long, people thought it wasn't possible, and then once it happened, it kept happening, because the first person to do something once thought impossible leads the way for everyone else to do it as well. So now there's a lot of people who draw like Kim Jong-gi, because there's a way to do it now that's been defined. The meta has been figured out. Oh, thanks. My composition, yeah, I'm working on just trying to build out scenes more now, but it all comes with time, I guess. So let's try to get this character. I really want to indicate the face here. Don't know if you guys can hear my dog snoring in the back, but it's kind of cute. Let's say he's been like beaten up, so he's like, he's had it, dude. Oh, this poor dude's had it. He's like, oh. You gotta have fun with it. This is stupid. Okay, head wraps around like this. Okay. And then the arm mass here, the neck, and I'll give him his clothing like this. He's like, oh, please, man, I don't know anything. There we go. And then, so soldier, what kind of stuff would a soldier wear? I should research that, but I'm gonna give him a shoulder plate for one. I know that's what they wear, so shoulder plate. I guess that's gonna work. Let's add a neck guard or something, some sort of thing he can have some pride in. Probably a chest plate like this. And now this is just working through the logic again. Now, how would a chest plate attach? Sometimes you don't know the answer. Sometimes you just don't know. So I don't know. You'd probably have two pieces. You'd probably have the front piece like this. And this is just from my, like, one time I've drawn a suit of armor. And I'm like, okay. Drawing everything one time helps a lot, because you at least get the very, like, 80-20 principle. Try it once and you get, like, at least you understand how it would work. These are two markers. Yeah, drawing scenes with 2 or more characters is really tough. My fiance is such a good artist. She's really good with pen, pencil, pastel, but she only draws faces and people, which is fine. But I wish she would do more stuff like this. Yeah, it's tough. My girlfriend's a really good artist too. How do we keep the proportions the same no matter the perspective? Well, you want to really understand the proportion of the thing you're drawing. So I keep in mind that and over time, as you draw people more and more, you sort of just get the sense for it. And I know it's a really unsatisfying answer when people just say you get the sense for it with practice, but it's kind of true. I forgot the dude's arm here. So I'm going to have to include that. Shoot. Okay, we're going to have to figure this out. See, adapting with the mistakes is sort of part of the way we're going to have to do this. So I'm going to have the arm come down here and reach up like this. And now, yeah, so we're going to do this. Sometimes you don't need your thing to look like anything. You see this? I don't know what this is, but if we add enough detail, someone, Rembert Montald, by the way, if you guys don't know Rembert Montald, y'all gotta, he says just force your will onto paper and eventually like the mistakes will disappear into the background. So I'm thinking about the form wrapping here. Form wrapping. And now let's give these guys the same armor, I guess. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to indicate this. And then maybe I'm just going to do what I know armor does and add plates. Now this is janky. Don't take this as the way to do any of what I'm showing you, but okay, so we're sort of getting the information together. Well, I did say I'd make this guy Batman. It doesn't make sense with the world, but it's Batman, bro. Batman is multi-dimensional. So what do we know about Batman? Well, he's got bat ears. That's a start. And he lives for justice. So here we go. Let's see here. Okay. Let me give him a frown. I don't see Batman as a emotionless guy. He's pretty angry all the time. He's like, how dare you? How dare you break the law? Okay. All right, Batman. We've got our mandatory Batman in our scene. I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty a-okay. And I guess we'll add in the cape. Although the cape attaches here, I don't know what I'm doing. The cape attaches to the front. What am I doing? There we go. Batman head placed in. Yeah, that's Duff Pappy's got it right. Some mistakes can be erased with shadows. Absolutely. It's like, I don't like his chin outline. Okay, we'll fix the silhouette here. There we go. Let's see if this fixes things. Get that cast shadow in there. I don't like this. Okay, we'll fix this up here, right like that. I don't like this. Okay, we'll get all this gone. So we'll just try to get all these mistakes out of the way by simply putting them in shadow. Okay. Anywho, let's see what else we can do here. So we're getting this pretty. I mean, I'm enjoying a couple things I'm liking, a couple things I'm not liking. I'm liking the depth. I'm feeling like this guy really is in the foreground. Right, that's looking good. And we can push the depth by making this line work thicker in the foreground and thinner in the background. Right? LARPing. I don't know what LARPing is. Live action role play. Wow, okay, yeah. I remember. Okay, live action role play. Okay. I think. Yeah, that's cool. LARPing must be so cool to draw. Amazing. Let me just check how many people we got on the stream. Just gotta do a little quick check to see how many people we still got watching. Because we're over the 2 hour mark now, but... Whoa, 109? You guys are crazy. I thought we had like 20, bro. What the heck? Okay, damn. Okay. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. Alright. Alright. Let's add this. So Batman serves justice with some giant metal blades. So bam and boom. Right, like that. So we gotta, I guess Batman's jacked, in case you guys didn't know. So we gotta get these massive pectorals in. So some big boys. Some giant. There we go. Those are some. We're keeping. I got nothing on but a late night dinner. Duff Puppy, I'd love to hear it. Late, but it looks so dope. Hey Zach, what's going on, man? I appreciate you, man. Amazing teacher. Wow, where can we sign up for the art draw course? Yeah, Lai Hamid, the Instagram, the YouTube channel description, or the animationtutor.com/drawing tutor, drawing club. So I'll actually share this with you right now. It's free art school. You're so kind. Thank you, Fatima. Huh? Why can't I speak in my own chat? What are you talking about? Okay, well I can't post the link apparently, but go to the drawing club, animationtutor.com/drawing club, or link in my description. And yeah, if you're the first 15 students to sign up for the cohort, you'll get $150 off because it's our first cohort for it. So we want to make sure that there will be some growing pains, I think. So, but I guarantee you, I can guarantee you guys that you're gonna learn a lot because it'll be 12 weeks of this. Except imagine if I actually structured lessons better than this. And I'll be giving each and every one of you individual feedback. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. But let's keep drawing. And the coolest part is that there's some flexibility with what you get to learn. So we're going to take votes, and the topics that people want to learn the most we'll cover. So it'll be topics that, obviously, the basics we're going to make people study. So intersections form, a lot of the 25 exercises I talked about, I'll be going in depth about. I'll be doing demos, and you'll get homework, and you'll get feedback. But there'll also be some stuff like scaling in perspective, imagination drawing, construction, stuff like that. And yeah, it's all for the price of, like, if you get the discount, it's like a pizza every week. So it's pretty cheap. Okay, man, gotta bounce out. This has been amazing. Mustafa Ahmed, thanks for joining for so long. It's been a pleasure streaming with you, and thanks for joining, man. Wrong link. Wait, what? Ooh, do I have the wrong link in the description? So how am I going to get this hand in? So thumb, at this point, thumb's really low in the, right, the perspective line happening here is now really wrapped because it's going up to a vanishing point up here. So we're going to be seeing a lot of the top of things. So that means as I'm drawing these hands, I'm remembering that they're going to be very much sort of foreshortened in a way. Maybe a bit too much foreshortening, but maybe I'm going to try to make this dynamic right here. Might have messed that one up. We don't know. I don't know. It's not up to us to know. Now we got to draw this giant guy, and maybe we'll give him like a scary mask because that's why he's, I don't know, maybe he's evil. This is inspired by Bryce Collander's recent YouTube video. So he's got a mask on. He's like, yeah, he's all scary and stuff. Yeah, fear him. Okay, so, and then, yeah, as Duff Poppy talked about, you just add shadows, bruh. You add shadows. If you don't know what to do, shadow it up. Okay, so here we go. So this guy's not having the best of times. He's definitely a little beaten up, a little sore. Let's add some, like, blood smears or something, and we can... Okay, no, this, you can't do with these, but... Now, you know what? You see, we kind of made it ugly. Can't lie. Sometimes this happens. It just gets ugly, but... I'm going to add some metal reflecting or something. Let's imply that this is a metal. Now, I may very well have ruined this. Kind of looks ugly. Honestly, none of this looks out of place in a Batman book. Literally. Oh, it is Tyrion's website. I just wanted to link the Drawing Club section. Yeah, it should link to the Drawing Club section, but... Oh, I see. Okay. It's the current link. Awesome. About to leave. Managed to catch the stream for a bit. Hope you the best. Nice content. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you're right. This has definitely happened in some Batman comics before, for sure. Tricep. These are foreshortened here. Now, Batman's actually got just giant trunks for arms, so you really gotta push that. And now his legs too. You gotta push that as well. Gotta push everything. Bro's massive. Okay, and then feet. So I wanted to actually include something about feet. I was drawing yesterday and I was like, wait a minute, you can simplify feet. So if you know how to draw the letter J from any angle. So practice J, right? You can do J like this. You can do J like this. You can do J like this. Practice drawing J's from a lot of different angles. And the reason you want to do that is because, let me just draw a bunch of J's from different angles. And not J's, like the letter J's. So if I draw J's from different angles, what this represents is the sole of your foot, which will make it easy to then draw feet from your imagination. Right, so, see? So J, you imagine the J is the bottom. Then you can add, and then now you got some easy feet, man. Some easy feet. So that was, hopefully that's helpful. Why is your name Broken Draw? Because Broken Draw. So yeah. Okay. Well, at least that's the hope. I hope people look at it and be like, whoa, Broken Draw. And yeah, okay, so we have a dude carrying another dude, and he's like, oh, I can't do this. Why'd I sign up for the army? Okay, and he's like, oh god. Okay, so he's like, bruh. Oh, that's a janky hand. That's a janky hand. You know, we roll with it. That's smart, yeah. Foreshorten your J's. Yeah. Gotta foreshorten your J's. Okay, and then now let's see if we can get a fun pose here. So, is this the Joker? I think we gotta do the Joker if we're gonna, but, ooh. Let's see here. God, I hope it's not the Joker. So, shoot. I don't know what this is, bro. He's like, oh my lord, this is gonna be a little scary. Yikes. The good news is, if you mess up the Joker, it's like, he's the Joker. He's not supposed to look normal. And then let's add the hair in the other direction so that it implies that the force is coming from Batman's forearm bashing into Joker's head. Like, so that was pretty bad, but from a distance, the man on the ground looks sweet. Yeah, this looks like a weird situation going on, but and let's add some ground information by giving some, like, just texturing objects along the planes of the ground will go a long way in selling the ground as a ground. So someone asked about ellipses stacked, how to practice ellipses, and this is sort of the application of it. Is you can indicate a floor plane a little bit better just by following things out along the floor. So maybe I add some stuff. Okay, so we have. So I guess the Joker is in a suit most times, eh? So he's gonna be like, he's in a suit. Yeah, he's gonna be in a suit for sure. Here we go. Okay, here it is. And he, I make a lot of noises for the things I'm trying to draw, because I don't know. I don't know. It just feels right, you know? It's like, yeah. My dog just farted. There we go. He's like, ah. Batman's like, justice. Justice has been served. Okay, so. The cape, and maybe we're seeing a little bit of the other underside of the cape here because we're getting that. We're over it, right? So, like, yeah, there we go. Let's get some shadows in there. We can probably shadow this side up entirely because shoot, it's in shadow. I don't know what to say. Okay, here we go. Probably until the end of the foot here. Probably good. Something like that. We just finished our coffee. That's pretty dope. Broke and draw or broke and draw. You know, both of those. Exactly. It got levels to this. We got levels to this. Broke and draw, because that's basically what I am. Broke and draw, because that's what I want to be. And in broken draw. I don't know. I just thought of the sound and I'm like, yo, that's a nice sound. It just sounds right, you know? So from that day forth. Is that an infinite cup of coffee? Unfortunately not, we just finished. Sadly. I wish. That's low-key, like, if I could have one magical object, it'd probably just be like an infinitely fillable cup of coffee. Not infinitely fillable, a bottomless coffee. I know that's probably a sinfully terrible use of magic, and if I had the ability to do anything and I picked coffee, UNICEF probably wouldn't like me, but it's my wish. So adding some shading, just because I'm kind of fumbling around. Let's see what else we can do here. So some shadows on the bottom side. Now, as you get better at drawing from imagination, and I'm saying this because I'm not at this stage yet, but you're going to want to play with your shadow shapes so that they sort of build your composition a bit better. I'm not there yet. It's something I'm practicing, where it sort of takes a knowledge of paintings and compositions. So like you would want to be able to block out your forms and see the overall composition. Where do you want the eye to lead? So I want the eye to go here. Okay, then I need to block out certain shapes and then cover them. Now I'm scared to do that because if I do it and it ruins the drawing, I'm screwed. But that's sort of the vibe you want to go for. You want to practice that eventually. So, I mean, I could try this, but I'm frightened. I can't lie to you guys. I'm frightened for sure. I am not in Toronto. I am in Macau. Bro was sent into Art Studio Heaven. Straight up, dude. If you saw the setup, this is Art Studio Heaven. That's so funny. No. Y'all are funny, man. No, I'm not in Toronto. I'm in Asia right now. I'm in Macau. So for you guys who don't know, I haven't been in school since January. So I decided to take some time off school since my sort of YouTube channel and working online sort of took off, partly because art school is great, but I'm very much someone who likes to learn on my own. And I know that I want to do this. I just want to draw, bro. I just want to draw. So thanks to you guys, I've been able to just spend more time doing this and make more educational content, teach myself a little bit better, and help you guys with whatever I can help with right now. And so, yeah, I've been taking a gap year from school, and it's sort of indefinite. I might go back, I might not, depending on how the next year looks for me. Yeah, so that's what's up. What that means for you guys is that I'll be making more videos, doing some more teaching, and probably live streaming a bit more. I do like this, so yeah, okay. So what else can we add to this background? Well, what if we played with scale here? Because we're losing space in the foreground, right? We don't have much more we can do in the foreground. But what about the background? Right? Okay, so what if we, let's see if I can hide this foot here. Okay, so what if we made some giants or something, right? So this is the horizon line. That means if we made some giants, they could be like, raw, and we would not be seeing the bottom of them. And what we could do is put a giant's foot in the foreground here. Something like this. Let's see how that looks. Maybe it's a giant war. So there's these fights happening, but then there's also giants in the background. Like, and they could be picking up like entire cars, buses, let's say. So these are buses. I don't know why they only hold the buses, but dropping out because self-study worked out. Yeah, literally. The J tip for the feet is shockingly goated. Like, my feet shape look better with that shape. Amazing. Awesome. Curious, why were you going to art school to begin with? I mean, you got to make money, lol, but are you any better because of your time in school? Okay, so I wanted to make a video about this but then I don't want to make any videos that are just not helpful, and I think making a video about art school is only helpful to people who are thinking about art school, and it's not that broadly applicable, so I'll talk about it now. The biggest thing I learned from art school, which is why I'm glad I went, and I think it was good to go, but you don't have to go. The biggest thing I learned was how to understand the industry, which you don't have to go to art school to understand. I went to school for animation, and in animation, regardless of what you practice, what you draw, how much you draw, the main thing you have to develop is your ability to think through problems. And I spent about 1.5 years in school, and I think that mindset was the most valuable thing I got from school. because it's not a degree where it means much, because anyone who is going to hire you as an artist is going to look at if you can draw. I could get a degree, and if I can't draw, no one's going to care, right? So it's all about how much effort you put into it. Now, what art school taught me was a few tricks and a few mindsets that helped me a lot. One example is in my anatomy class, more than drilling anatomy and drawing muscles and stuff, what he taught me, the professor, he taught me how to understand anatomy. So school, if it's a good school, it'll teach you how to learn, because 4 years is not enough to learn anything or master it. So what you want is to spend 4 years learning how to make the rest of your life the most rewarding learning experience, right? So that's sort of my mentality, is that I went to school enough to learn how to learn, and now on my own. So everything I draw on my Instagram, everything here, none of this was taught at school. None of this. They make you do perspective drawings, but they don't teach you how to visualize perspective on your own. They don't really teach the stuff that anything I've talked about on my YouTube channel, on my streams, on my everything. The vast majority on Drawing Club as well. They don't teach you this in school, which is why I got rejected from school for 2 years in a row, even though I drew all the time, is because there's a specific set of tools and techniques they want you to know, but it's like no one's trying to tell you for some reason. I don't know why. So that's, I think, the popularity with Artwad, the popularity with Peter Hahn, the popularity with my channel recently has been because I think I experienced what it was like to not know the information that I wanted to know. And truth be told, if you practice everything I'm talking about here, you're going to be able to get into whatever art school you want within 2 years. It took me 5 years. You can get in within 2 years because I was just practicing the wrong things. Right, makes sense. I got a bachelor's in, Evan says, I got a bachelor's in computer information systems and cybersecurity. I learned a lot, but the degree is more like proof you can do something and also building a learning mindset. Exactly. So the degree is a signifier of artistic skill and a professional mindset. Now, that's useful, but if you have any other thing in your portfolio that indicates professional mindset and artistic skill, then you've solved the problem of getting what an art degree gives you without spending $40,000 or more in the process. So for me, the logic of it was that, well, if I make a bunch of drawings and teaching material and a YouTube channel, it shows my professional mindset. Like, it shows that I can, it has value in itself. And then instead of paying the school, I can get paid to do it. So it just made more sense in my specific circumstance. Now, some people, I'm not the most collaborative person. I like doing stuff on my own. So animation, the program I went into, is so collaborative that it's not the best fit for someone who's not collaborative. That being said, I still hope to work in the industry one day. Just I'm trying this path for the time being. If it doesn't work, I just go back to school too. I had an art school as a client for a while. You're correct, Tyrion. How to approach things and industry knowledge are the most important. Awesome. I'm from Tech 2. These are foundations you learn, but you have to keep learning. Absolutely. All you need is curiosity. That's huge. I say that all the time. It's like you're going to learn as much as you want to learn. That's it. Like, you can't teach someone who doesn't care to find out. And that's why you take a non-talented student, someone who's never drawn but really wants to, and you take a talented artist who doesn't really love the craft. The first guy's gonna outlap the other because it takes curiosity at the end of the day. You have to want to find out, and there's no school that's gonna give you the information if you don't want it, right? So yeah, my experience with art school was a lot of fun though. So this is by no means a claim that it's not valuable or that I don't need it. I might need it. We'll see. Right now I'm just seeing how the wind goes, and it gave me a chance to come back home to see my parents, so I'm enjoying that so far. So these are giants. What can we do to indicate their giantness? I don't know. Maybe I give them some giant weapons. Maybe they just have trees as battering rams. I don't know. I don't know. So, to get this feeling like it's a giant, we'll have to, it's all relative, right? Perspective is all relative. Horizon lines only mean something depending on what crosses the horizon line, right? So in order for this giant to feel huge, I need to give him something that is already big, and then you're like, holy crap. If this is a bus, then this person must be giant. All right. Now I'm keeping it relatively loose, because as we go further and further back in space, you don't have to indicate details that much. All right. He's huge. He's a huge boy. He's massive like that. Okay. And now this is where we'll really get the perspective feeling cool if we can get this right. Now, that's a caveat if we can get it right, because I don't know, but we're going to try. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, well, we got a foot. I don't know what this foot's doing here, but it's a foot for sure. Okay, well, we kind of filled up this scene. We kind of got that done. I got talked into going to graphic design for college, but once I got through the fine arts classes and got into advertising typography, that was about the time I dropped out. The buses weren't good enough. They need extra. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, they don't look huge, do they? Maybe if I can... Oh, here's what we can do. If you want to make these guys look huge, why don't we add extra people? They're like, wait, no! Oh, the buses are scaled real wrong. Okay. See, you live and you learn, man. So this guy's like, hold on, wait, don't kill those people. Okay, like this. We'll add some. It sort of looks like they're cheering on this guy though, like hooray. Okay, so yeah, if we add some heads along the horizon line, just some shapes and stuff, it'll imply that these giants are bigger than the horizon line. So, like, huge guys. Yeah, I clearly got to work on that. Okay, so I think I'm done with that. That's what we got. That's how you mannequinize to draw your scene from imagination. It's I got to work on that a lot. They're little Pikmin people. Heck yeah. Do you ever feel imposter syndrome with drawing? All the time. Absolutely. I was really nervous before this live stream, and I was like, you know what? If you fail, you fail. Absolutely. It's so normal to feel imposter syndrome because, yeah, like everyone does. He thinks he's Kim. Exactly. Hi, Sky, that guy. I did draw that during the live stream. Hey, man, I love your art, and I've been watching your content for a while. Just want to ask what pen you use. I use... yo, let's get the pen. So my parents, they're so supportive that ow that hurt. Okay. So one of the reasons I like to come to Macau or Hong Kong is that the pens here are like a quarter of the price they would be in let me turn that off. They're a quarter of the price they would be in Canada. So my parents, whenever they see these pens, they buy me a bunch So I have like, this is about half the pens I have because they keep buying them because they're cheap. So these are about $1 each, whereas on Amazon in Canada they'd be like $4 or $3. So I love the Zebra collection pens, but recently I've been enjoying the Pentel sign pens. These are great. And then now I'm gonna draw using this, and I'm gonna draw a little bit more just because I'm enjoying this, and I'm so glad you guys are watching and having fun here. So I'm gonna draw a little bit more, and then probably another hour. Yeah, I'll probably be on for I'll do an hour drawing, and then I'm gonna go walk the dog. So I'm gonna go walk the dog, and I really have to go to the bathroom, but I got a mic attached and I am not taking y'all with me. This is the wow, this is actually scary. I'm sorry to flash you guys with these faces. Drawing Club, read the description if you want it. This is an artist equivalent of a money spread. Seriously, I'm like, check out the stash. Fair OMG, wow. What's a good beginner-friendly book to learn stylized drawing for video games? Okay, the thing about stylized drawing is if you want to draw really well, style follows the base knowledge. Because style, without the ability to draw the real thing, is a crutch. That's not, like, if you can't change your style, it's not your style, it's your limitation. Because style is looking at something and choosing to filter it through a certain factor, a certain emotion, a certain read, right? But if you can't switch, then you can't. That is not really style. So the book I'd recommend for anybody looking to. So literally on the first page, he says this is a signed copy, by the way. I didn't get it signed from him, but it was the only copy they had. Says this book is for anybody learning to understand games, animation, concept art, etc. Buddy, that's what it says. Buddy. Okay, he can't hear me. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to do some examples of some mannequin poses with different horizon lines. Yes, let's do that. Let's have some fun. Come here. Let's have some fun with a new horizon line. I'm going to try. I'm just going to start drawing, and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to use my brush pen that my friend Juan gave me. He's awesome about shape design, and that comes with absolutely. Okay, so what are we going to draw? My dog's looking at me, so I think I'm going to draw a dog. And a dog is basically, they're very flat-headed actually, but I think he's a nervous dog. He's a little scared. He's like, huh? Yeah, he's gonna be a little nervous. Oh yeah, bro is nervous for sure. Now what's he nervous about? What is he nervous about? We don't know. Hi buddy. Hi buddy boy. He farted again. Okay. Okay, so here's our dog. Here's our dog, like that. And now we're gonna really get in good with the furry community here, because you know we're about to make this anthropomorphized. So can I get some W's in the chat for the furries in here? No, sorry. Okay. Let's get some W's in the chat anyway. Let's get some W's in the chat. If you're a real one. Okay. So he's disgusted. Now the question is, I think your dog is nervous. He's about to drop a deuce. Yeah, maybe. It's the funny the mic can pick up dog farts. Straight up. His first day of class. Maybe he's gonna poop on his first day of class. I do love drawing dogs as students for some reason. I do like that. So, let's go. Okay. So I do like the idea that there's a student. So. Hi, buddy. Sorry, let me put my dog on the chair. Anyway, here's Buddy again, guys. Here's his Buddy. Say hi to Buddy. Hi, Buddy, Buddy, Buddy. Yeah, he's kind of got that blank stare going on. Okay, you go to sleep, Buddy. He tired. Okay, here you go. All right, back to it. So this guy he's definitely looking pretty judgmental. Now, what's he judging? We'll see. I guess he'll be like, okay, I think I'm gonna have his hand on his head like this. He's gonna be like, shoot. Now the thing is, the suggestions, like I can't really draw what I'm trying to draw. All I can draw is the most logical line I can think of following the thing I've already drawn. Like, I'd love to make him in a pose that's him telling a story. I don't know. It just sort of comes up, judging my drawing skills. Make a bigger, meaner dog that's mad at the nervous dog. Okay, maybe. Does that mean, like, I'll try these, but I can't guarantee I know how to do those things. So, oh, his arm long as heck. Okay, so his arm should not have been that long. Let's try shortening it. There's the shirt. And now he's in one of these like schoolboy things. Like what's he doing? He's like, okay, well, I think his shoulder here would be a little raised, and he looks a little uncomfortable. Well, he looks very uncomfortable. So maybe he's watching something happen that he doesn't like, or he's getting... We'll see. We will see indeed. Why'd I put his hand on the top of his head? Okay. Oh, you know what? We roll with it. We just figured it out. This is stiff as hell. Okay. What we do when we don't know what's going on, we add context so we can figure it out. I cannot think of one reason a person would be posing this way. But, okay. Okay. I can imagine that he's holding hands with another dog. That I can imagine. So we're going to do that. Holding hands. Okay, we got there. This arm, kind of janky, but what can you do? Let's add some form indications. Like this. Like this. Something like that. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's starting to come together a little bit. I'm imagining... I'm imagining... that this guy sort of looks like like he works at he's at a golf course. No, he looks older, so maybe I'm gonna give him some more athletic wear. So maybe he was at a golf, maybe he was at a gym with his kid or something, like one of those country clubhouses, and he sees someone. You could draw an old turtle. Oh, I love turtles. I'm at it. Okay, yeah, I'll try to put a turtle in here. Oh, maybe. Okay, we'll figure this out. Yeah, this is a turtle indeed. He's not happy with these guys though. Okay, now this is our turtle. Now how do we want to get that hunchback in there? So shadow, the turtle wrapping around. Wrinkles. Okay. So you really I want to give this turtle really thin arms. And maybe have him holding a cane or something. Like that. Leaning forward, so the clothes would droop forward. Turtle shell. Now this is volume mapping. We'd want our shell to be wrapping around the way that the volume's gonna look, right? So following the volume. Looks nervous about something that was his fault. Yeah, I think I added this band and it ruined the thing. Bro be making noises. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. I might have to go pretty soon because I think this guy needs a walk. He needs a walk for sure. So might have to head pretty soon. But I enjoyed this. If you guys want another live stream, please let me know. You guys have been really awesome. So might do that. If you guys want more classes though, because I might live stream just me drawing from imagination. If you guys do want classes, then I'll see you at Drawing Club. Drawing Club, baby. So let's get this out here. Something like that. Something like that. Can I get W's in the shot? W's in the shot. You guys know what I'm talking about. He looks funny, guilty with the one hand. You could draw an old turtle. The old turtle is pretty dope. That really looks so good, lol. How do you draw specific animals? Poses from imagination. He saw the price of art class his son wanted to attend. That I know that feeling. How do you draw specific animals? Well, you sort of want to remember the basic rules for the animal. I really love the comic Black Sad for that. Yeah, you want to remember some basic rules for the animal and then play with the proportions as you get used to them. So I'm pretty bad at this. Sometimes it turns out well, sometimes it doesn't. So the kid's like, oh, Dad. So add some. So this guy will be, turtle's very round, so let's add that. And he's gonna be really, really old, man. He's an old man. Okay. So his arms come around like this. So how do we do this? How do we do this? One of these, yeah, one of those, and then one of these. And now this is telling me the perspective. So this is where you can hide your perspective in your construction. By putting this bar down, I know where my lines are going to go now. I know everything's going to have to. So between this guy and this guy, they're going to have to, the horizon line's right here. It must be, because these guys are facing each other, meaning there's something here. So if I want, I could have, let's ruin this good time we're having on stream by making something ungodly. So now we're going to have a dog, except it's not going to be a dog, guys. It's not going to be a dog. Had to do it. I had to do it. It's not a dog, guys. So I like making humans when W's in the shot. One last year's W's. What is W? I got here late. Stream is ruined by this ungodly creature. Yeah. So instead of animals, let's make this, because it doesn't make sense. Think about the logic of this. We have human bodies with animal heads. So what is a dog in this world? What's like an actual animal? Well, it'd be a human head with an animal body. Like the logic just checks out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It just, I'm not even trying to make something ungodly. I'm just trying to follow the logic of our world. What, are we going to have actual dogs? No, there's already dogs, and these are them. So all we're left with is this ungodly abomination, because this is what happens when you play with genetics. Like it's just not right. It's just not right. Okay. Point is, let's draw this dog. Yeah, he's a good boy. I mean, like, he's just like a dog like anything else. I don't know why y'all gotta be so judgy. He's like, I don't see the difference between this and like a pit bull. He's literally pit bull. Actually, this is stupid. This is pit bull. Wish I kept him bald. Here we go. Mr. Worldwide. Right? Right here. There we go. Awesome. Awesome sauce. There we go. If you guys have a problem with this, you're the problem. There we go. Right, so now this, because every old turtle needs a dog to protect them. Artists when they play God. Yeah. This is what happens. And then, you know what? I think this guy would be the type of person to have multiple dogs. I just think he would. And he'd be giving his dogs like some nice fun accessories. Some headbands, right? Some bandanas. This one's pretty bored. This one's just like, sup? This one's a bit less like sassy than this guy. He's just like, what's up? I'm chilling. I'm just a dog. Now, this is the type of furry that no one wanted to see. What bro means when he says he got that dog in him. Literally. Yep, this would give... This should not be okay, I don't think. If you want to leave, I understand. You didn't sign up for this. I said this would be a mannequinization stream, and look what happened. So you can't have good things. Heck yeah. Yeah, there's our dog doing this right here. Okay, frankly, that's not cool. Okay, let's keep this. Let's get this going. Okay, so we got our little kid holding dad's arm. Like, what? Okay. And now maybe, ooh, let's make this social commentary. Don't we love that? So there's gonna be a sign. He's gonna be holding a sign, right? He's gonna be holding a sign, and this sign says, "No, no, no." Okay, so I didn't have space for the S, so it just says "no dog." No dog. Oh no. Why won't they let the dogs play too? Because in this world, humans with dog heads are not accepted. So it's like, no dogs. No doggy. This is like Full Metal Alchemist Part 2. If you're talking about that forsaken dog in episode 4 or something, you might be correct. You're literally, yeah, this is, y'all, you guys are funny. Kid should be holding a leash with Pluto on it. Okay, so here. Now let's get this ground plane looking right. Okay, so the ground plane. Now we can add some, let's make sure we can add some. Right, so there. This is sort of our, oh no, our perspective is sort of like this. Like this, something like this. So let's see if we can. Here we go. This is not right. This just ain't right. No dogs. Okay, so if there's no dogs allowed in this vicinity, who else is going to be here? Well, I think we're going to have some. And now, what else are they doing? I don't know, but they're chilling, and maybe it's like a function, maybe it's a party, but dogs don't get invited because this is a terrible world. So, I think we're going to have other people having a blast of a time, having a good time. And what's having a good time? Well, it's dancing. So we're gonna have this character dancing, having a ball. Just having a grand old time here. Woo. And then what are they? Oh, well, they're a cat. No, they're a cat. Okay. Can I see who in the... Do we have dog or cat people here? Let me see who likes dogs or cats more. Can you write your animal of preference? Make a draft person. Okay. Master Ugo, yeah, is there a specific method for drawing clothes? Yeah. So with drawing clothes, you always want to think about tension points. So with drawing clothes... Oh. Let me take a sip of water first. Dog. Oh yeah, Evan, you're on. I'm on that too. I like dogs. So we got some cat people. I like both, more of a cat person. Oh, we got a lot more cat people. Okay. So clothes, how you'd want to decide how to draw clothes is, again, mannequin. Start with the mannequin. Because from here, all things come from the mannequin. It's like the Big Bang Theory of anatomy. Okay, so because what'll happen depends on what the underlying structure is doing. So let's say my hands are forward. If my hands are forward, you have to imagine the tension points. So where is the tension when your arms come forward? Well, look at, you see this, the spirals? It's because the tension is on this side. What's happening is that the fabric is being pulled like this along, right? So what you'd get is a tension like this. Tension being pulled. Same thing here. Your tension would be pulled around like this, right? And now a collar is just like, if you can draw a W, a U, right? So imagine you have the U letter and then just rotate it in space. So I love the practice of extruding letters, right? Because a lot of things can be simplified to letters. Or it's a C shape, right? If you can do a C shape and make it a little bit wider on the bottom, what you can do is put the neck through there, right? And then now you just have a shirt collar. Right? You have your shirt collar, you have your neck, you have right. So the C shape helps. So if you want to do with the C or U, so you can just add a lot of these clothing points by understanding the tension. Now, what about the bottom? Well, I usually put my shirts tucked. Obviously, you don't have to, but see, so there is indeed a logic with drawing clothing folds. Teach this like Sheldon. Hydrate your throats, everyone. Facts. Let's take a water break. Water drinking break. The Zeals got it. For the dog and cat people, the Maine Coon cat is the one you want. It's a cat that's actually a dog. It's a dog pretending to be a cat. It's like the old tortoise. Make a giraffe person. Okay, we'll do a giraffe person too. Okay, so this person is having the time of their lives, and they're like, they're gleeful, and they're having a good time. And it's pretty sad because he's like, ha ha ha. How? And it's a cat. Because it's a cat's only event. Or at least it's a no dogs event. Which is so sad. So sad. He's like, yeah, he's having a ball, dude. He's having a good time. And guess who he's dancing with? He's dancing with a giraffe who's like, this dude fine. Let's get this. Oh man. Why am I drawing a sexy giraffe? He's like, this guy. Can I draw a sexy giraffe? Gotta work on my sexy giraffe drawing skills. You'll notice I really only draw dudes is because I don't know. It's pretty hard for me. Yep, not that sexy. Pretty actually intense. Yeah, like, yeah. Having a ball. Get that tongue out. Yeah, get that tongue out. There you go. All right. He's like, woo. Let me just... Is there a fish person? How would you put them in this world? Shoot. Yes, there's going to be a fish person. Fish person. I guess the fish person is going to be the bodyguard. So how would I put them in the world? I'd pick a point of... let's put them standing in the foreground. Because I think I have to go, though, because my dog needs to go for a walk, and I've been putting it off. he's usually going out earlier. So let's put some fish people in the scene. Bystanders like, hey, why won't you let him in, man? He's like, whoa, let my guy in. And then this fish is like, this is blasphemy. This is just wrong. Draw some gills. Like, hey, man. I know it's getting to the end of my wits here when I just start making streaming noises. That's when my thinking brain is turning off. He's like, hey, what's the big idea? Let him in, man. Like, hey. Or they're like, it says no dogs. They're assholes too. Maybe they're not even on his side. They're like, hey, man, you're not welcome. Very sad. Very, very sad. And he's like, oh. Okay. Well, guys, unfortunately, I think I have to cut the stream here because my dog, I hear him whining at me and he really wants to go outside. And I gotta do as the master pleases because he's an old boy and he deserves some time in the sun. So, this is Buddy. You hear his belly? Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but he wants to go for a walk. So I'm gonna have to take him out for a walk. Oh yeah, he's farty. Dang. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to take him out. So I guess that concludes the stream. The official VOD will be available afterwards, but I might cut it down considering that this went on way longer and it's not even about mannequinization anymore. But let me just see how many people we got watching right now because y'all are awesome for watching. That's unbelievable. Let's see. We got... What are we looking at? 130. Wow. Okay, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It's like 10:30 at night. Thank you guys for joining me today. I'm so grateful that you guys came. I hope you learned something and I hope you had fun. Thank you, Evan, staying the whole stream. Hexgate, most of the stream. You guys are goated, man. This is fun. Thanks for streaming. Don't cut it down. All right, Jess, I hear you. And you know what? I won't cut it down. And I want to answer all your guys' questions. I will stream again. Please. Yeah, I'm going to answer all your questions again, but right now I got to go take my dog out. Thank you so much, guys. Drawing Club starts in June. Sign up and we can have class together. Otherwise, I'll see you next stream or in the next video coming next week.